And welcome back to Late Night Glass Ceiling Sports on ESPN. With 20 seconds left on the clock, we've got a tie game and things are tense as Joan of Arc lines up to take the hut. And there it is. Joan peels back looking for a receiver downfield. Ooh, and just avoids the sack by Emma Watson. Nellie McClung is struggling to get at Joan, but is being held up by Octavia Butler. There's the throw downfield to Geraldine Ferrero, who makes the catch and is gone. But bearing down on her is Mary Wollstonecraft, who strips the ball away. We have a bouncing ball, ladies and gentlemen, and Sojourner Truth and Afra Bain are scrambling to recover it. What's this, though? Susan B. Anthony has it. She's running at the 40, the 30, the 20. Oprah tries a late tackle but misses. Touchdown! Oh, Susan B. Anthony wins it for her team and her gender. That's it for Late Night Glass Ceiling Sports on ESPN. Tune in tomorrow for male sports all day. We watched A League of Their Own, and she's the man.
Ah, the French champagne.
Can you tell me which members of the Reservoir Dogs you two are currently dressed as?
I'm Mr. Pink.
Sis Blue.
So Miranda hasn't seen Reservoir Dogs.
Secret Nazis.
Yeah.
Secret Nazis.
Classic Spielberg.
Classic Spielberg.
He needs to kill 94 different 65-year-old men over 2.5 years because those men's children are all identical clones of Adolf Hitler.
There's like a bunch of other shit that happens in Driven.
Is there?
Shake it! Shake it!
The schlocky movie from this week may be the schlockiest film we've ever seen on this podcast.
The Citizen Kane of the week is... Thank you, Sean. I want you to know that I really barely followed that.
Good.
Yeah, that entire thing went right over my head until you said Oprah, and then it kind of clicked in for me.
Yeah, I smiled at Oprah for sure.
Well,
Emma Watson, I know her. That's Hermione.
All right. Anyone who knows the waves of feminism will click in. They'll understand it. So, yeah. Okay, yes. And we got a no. we got a shaken head no on this audio format. Great.
Well, I didn't want to admit to no, and I hadn't spoken yet, so I wasn't sure if I was allowed to speak yet. So I just shook my head.
Yeah.
Let it be known on this podcast. The men will let you know. Okay.
On this particular podcast.
I'm going to cut myself off already. Okay, so welcome to Citizen Kane Versus, where we compare a movie that is considered to be more on the classic side with a movie that's more on the schlocky side, and we ask ourselves honestly, which is better? My name is Jack Rennie, and I'm joined as usual by my two friends, one,
Sean Jacqueline,
and the other,
Daniel Benoit.
And if you're watching us on the YouTubes today, you'll see that joining Daniel Benoit in his frame is his lovely partner, Marisa McIntyre. Hi, Marisa.
Hello. I'm so honored to be here. I've been hearing the podcast through the door of our second bedroom for a year now.
Woo! Our partners love that we do this hobby podcast.
Yeah.
I love it most of the time. Some of the movies I have not loved.
What's your favorite movie so far?
What's your top and bottom movies that you've had to watch? Actually,
bottom would be that the space one with John Travolta.
Oh, Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Earth.
That thing I will never get my life back.
Thank you. We're in the same thought about that. Yeah.
That like sticks. That sticks out.
I would watch that movie 5 times today.
It's so good.
Fantastic.
It's so good.
No, I think the best was, see, I'm terrible with names. It was okay. The one about the kids basketball team.
MVP 2.
But the good version, the classic.
Fuck you, Jack.
Coach Carter.
Yes,
Coach
Carter.
Coach Carter was your favorite one?
It's the first one that came to mind that I actually liked.
We never released that one, so people who are regular listeners, that was our trial episode. Yeah.
I liked that one.
You really liked Grapes of Wrath.
Did I? What was that one about?
Black and white, socialism.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool. Actually, I did think that was cool. I really like the old ones because I feel like I'm learning something, growing as a person.
There's a little more substance.
Yeah, I like when you guys force me to watch movies I wouldn't normally watch.
Like
most
Ben-Hur?
of the time.
Did you love that?
I actually walked in halfway through I didn't have time to watch the whole thing with him, and then I was walking by and I got caught up and started watching it. So I guess I did.
I'm going to make that into an audio clip that we use as like an ad for this show. Just you saying, I like when they forced me to watch a movie that I wouldn't normally watch. Because that's like half of the pitch of this podcast is like,
Well, it's cool.
it's either like, do you think that movie you like is good, the podcast? Or is it like, maybe try watching this movie this week, the podcast?
No, I
Like,
think
essentially-
the first one's the best pitch. Do you like that movie that you already have watched 7 times?
Yeah.
Do you want us to tell you some stuff you already know?
We'll tell you why it's shit.
Yeah, we're going
And you
to
should
tell
feel
you.
bad.
We're going to tell you that National Treasure is better.
They'll never forgive us.
Which it was. It was better, Sean.
It was empirically so. It was decided. So, also, before we get into any more nitty gritties, I'm going to really quickly just say thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, rate, review. Follow us on anything. We have a Twitter at Citizen Kane VS. We have an Instagram at Citizen Kane VS Podcast. We're on YouTube. We're on all kinds of stuff. So any way that you want to share and spread the love, thank you so much. But most of all, if you know Carrie Elways, like Marisa has been dying for Carrie Elways to come on the show, and it would just break her heart if that never happens. So please use the hashtag Come On Carrie, because we want him to come on the show, and that's the only way to read that hashtag. Yeah. So that's just mainly the most important thing, you know. So hashtag Come On Carrie, hashtag Citizen Kane VS, bada bing, bada boom, off we go.
I realized that I said hello and just immediately started going on a tangent and never actually said my name. So now they're saying Marisa, and they're like, "Who's Marisa?"
Jack,
you
I said your
said
name.
You said his partner.
He said Marisa McIntyre.
Okay, I'm just losing my mind. So
I mean. Admittedly,
it's just a ploy for you to say my name again because I really want to like bump up.
And who are you represented by?
I can't do it.
Noble Kaplan Abrams. We have. Is that it?
Yes.
I do know. See, look at that.
Rock on.
Shout out hashtag Noble Kaplan Abrams.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
okay,
yeah, that
sure.
works, that works.
They're gonna be like,
Your union. Are you allowed to be on this?
are you
I
allowed
got
to?
special privileges. You just have to put an
podcasts are
asterisk
outside.
beside my name. It's fine.
All right.
All right.
You're not allowed to be on YouTube because that's
Yeah.
the one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So, Dan,
No, I don't think it's
Yeah.
do you have some, as we call them in the Latin tongue, summarinos for us?
Ooh.
Yeah.
The Latin again. Do you want to hit us with those?
Yeah.
Boy, we're batting 100 over here.
Damn.
Studiers of the dictionary in that household.
Yeah.
All
Bring
right.
Evie on.
All right. Settle down, folks. Settle down. Bell media. Okay, ready?
What was the bell meeting? Okay.
Trying to get sponsored.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Sorry. Gotcha. Okay.
In the red corner, representing the classics, a pretty dairy farmer who uses her splits to make women's baseball a household game while all the male players are off killing Nazis. Coming in at 128 minutes, starring Gina Davis and Tom Hanks, A League of Their Own. And in the blue corner, representing the schlock, a young girl who sets out to prove that she's just as good at soccer as any boy by disguising herself as her twin brother and joining his school soccer team so she can beat her own, probably causing some serious sexual confusion for her dorm mate in the process. Coming in at 105 minutes, starring Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum, she's the man. Women.
That's what I was trying to do. I was like, let's get some feminism up in here. And then I couldn't admit that I had no idea what you were talking about, Sean, because it just completely kiboshed.
Hey, like feminism is not a structured thing. It is purely an ideological belief. So more power to you, sister.
So there's like no, what you're saying is there's no winning and losing or failing.
And there's no crying in baseball.
That's the main thing.
That's the line.
Yeah.
Did you know this? I didn't tell you, but that's like that line is one of the most famous lines in movie history. There's no.
That's one of the most famous lines in movie history.
It's very famous.
There's
sure.
no
Yeah.
crying in baseball?
Yeah,
Oh, fuck me. I didn't know that.
I know. I didn't tell you because I was going to tell you on the podcast and then get
Whoa.
the reaction. See,
Nice.
She's good. She's
saving
good.
it for the pod.
Shoehorn. Marisa also found another culturally relevant famous line that she swears is taken from A League of Their Own.
what are you talking about?
Check your notes.
Shoehorn. We did a whole thing about this before the
shoot.
podcast.
No, but what am I supposed to say?
Classic. Yeah. Classic you too.
This is almost as good as the
no.
dialogue in She's the Man.
No, but that's supposed to happen later when we're talking about the soundtrack. I will shoehorn then.
All
All
right.
right, we can
Well,
save the
let's dive in.
shoehorns for later.
That was a perfect segue.
But first of all, and again, Marisa was kind enough to volunteer these movies for the podcast this week, which was great. Had you seen both of these movies before you pitched them?
Yes. I was trying to find a movie that you guys that wasn't too like overtly like a chick flick that had absolutely no credibility. It was kind of hard to find. I won't say a classic, but one that
This is classic.
it is a classic.
Oh, yeah.
So I
Yeah.
tried to do it with like men in mind and also not too heavy-handed on the feminism. So they weren't just like bleeding. We weren't just talking about periods and like, you know what I mean? Just like more lighthearted feminism.
Fair enough. But there is a fair amount of like. Aaron and I like to have a conversation sometimes when movies or TV shows are incredibly heavy-handed with to a point where it's patronizing with their "see women can do things," and we turn to each other and say, "Women do things," and these films mostly avoided the like "women do things" that it could the places that could have gone for that. So
Yeah.
props.
Because the funny thing is, and I'll use this at okay.
We're off to a great start.
No,
I think we're off to a fantastic start.
my thing stopped recording for a second, but now we're back.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Hopefully.
the funny thing about these movies is that it like it seems like they're more about misogyny. You know what I mean? Like, of course, that is a counterpart to feminism, right? Feminism is the fight against misogyny as much as it's about the fight for equality among women. Like misogyny would be the counter, I guess, movement or counter ideology, right? It just feels like these movies are kind of more about the misogyny than they are about like the feminism. Like
They certainly utilize misogyny as obstacles for their main characters to overcome.
Yeah.
Sometimes rather heavy-handedly, but charming in their own way, I would say, for both films. I think both of these films are incredibly charming films.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's get into debating each other. Because I have some counter arguments to that statement. So let's begin with our first category, story good. I just did three physical dings that time. It should sync up perfectly.
Marisa was unfamiliar with the story bear, so I just scared the shit out of her by
Yeah.
I was just so
As
confused.
is anyone who only listens to the podcast.
It doesn't really come up on YouTube that much either, because usually the video is still on me. So it's really just for us or people on Torch. They get to see Dan's.
just the diehards. The diehards know what
just
the
the diehards.
story
So I
bear
can
is.
just Titan Waffle.
Yeah.
Shout out to
So-
Titan Waffle.
Shout out to Titan Waffle. So my first point is, I found She's the Man like borderline unwatchable. It was it was one of my least favorite movies on the podcast so far.
Oh my.
Okay,
We
like
watched MVP 2.
yeah.
I will watch She's the Man
Oh, that
before
was
I'll watch
bad.
MVP 2.
I don't think I would.
Okay, so I concede that I agree on one level, and the thing about She's the Man that confuses the hell out of me is that I know I had a feeling Jack would feel this way about this movie, and I understand it, and I'm watching it, and there's so few notes for that movie and so many for A League of Their Own, because I had so many thoughts in A League of Their Own. She's the Man is literally like maybe a page of notes. I drew a lot of stars and like doodles as I was watching because it didn't take a lot of attention. But mostly my gripes and my likes were almost the same thing.
Really?
Because I was like, she has really obnoxious facial acting, but I love it. And this person is terrible, but I love it. Like
Amanda Bynes is a treasure, and it's a shame what her abilities brought her into. This film was a catalyst for the downward spiral that she took. But she's fantastic. We'll get to that, but I think she's fantastic.
But I understand what you were saying about the fact that it should be. I understand it is bad, should be bad, but I love it. I laughed out loud so many times. I was just like gleeful in the badness of this movie.
Well,
I can understand that, like, that point. We call those likey grapes, right? Where it's like the love-hate note, where it's like, oh, I can't believe you just fucking did that, but I smiled, and I hate you, but I'm laughing. Like those notes, and those are pretty great. Like, I love a likey grape.
Yeah.
But I just, for me, there were so few things to like about the movie. Like, I was mainly just griping for me.
We should start off by saying that She's the Man is a modern adaptation of Twelfth Night. And
Sure.
And I would say for what it was trying to be and for the audience it was marketing itself to, an incredibly successful adaptation of Twelfth Night.
Okay, so here's
Sean,
here
I
was
don't
my
even know who
thing.
you are this week.
No, I knew this was
I
coming.
got my COVID vaccine.
When he did, he got it today. When we announced She's the Man last week, the look of just pure glee on Sean's face said it all. So I knew that we were going to get that from him this week. Now, my thing was, because one of my first notes is, who is this movie for? Because I had the same issue. I was like, the overacting is ridiculous. These people are cartoon characters. But then I remembered that it was an adaptation of a Shakespeare play. And once I started kind of watching it through that lens of this is a Shakespearean play that has been like repackaged for tween girls, then suddenly it became a lot more enjoyable. Now, my main question is, how much does the story in this movie, how similar is it to 12th Night, the original play? Which I should know because I studied Shakespeare extensively, and I've never read the play.
Yeah, but he wrote a bunch of fucking plays.
He wrote a bunch of fucking plays.
You don't have to memorize them. Like,
It's similar enough. Like they go to Cesario's pizza place, where in actual fact Viola's character is Caesarean when she is pretending to be a boy. So they have a lot. They've changed some of the past that the characters go on, and you like Sir Andrew Aguecheek and Sir Toby Belch are the two roommates, and they're just Andrew and Toby. And they've created their own little and Malvolio is the spider, but it like his owner is supposed to be Malvolio from the play. So they changed some things around just to. I don't like that they kept his name as Duke Orsino because that's the most glaring thing. But
I was like, that's for the people that didn't really pay attention to Shakespeare in high school.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that name sounds familiar. I was like, yeah, his name was actually Duke Orsino.
It took me about halfway through the movie before I caught on to that.
See, this is why it's got to be in
and then I was like,
guy.
that's brilliant. This is so smart.
like some people are just named Duke.
But some of the storylines, if I can remember, are pretty close. Like in that Duke saw Viola kiss Olivia, who is as Sebastian, like that. Those moments were the same, like plot twist moments.
yeah, the love triangles.
Yeah.
Have you read this play?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Like a long time ago.
Yeah, of course. Everyone's got to choose between it and Romeo and Juliet for their grade 12 English class.
Yeah,
that's true. I read Romeo and Juliet.
I didn't do grade 12.
Everyone does.
You didn't do grade 12? Did you? Oh, okay.
All right. No, in the old country, there is no.
Just a couple of high school dropouts over here.
All right.
You do whatever you
Look
put
how
your mind
far
to,
you've made
kids.
it. Look how far you've made it. You're on this podcast again.
I'm
You're live on Twitch right now, like a fool.
I thought it was Twarch.
Twarch? Twarch?
Oh, Twarch.
But when you're live on it, it's Twitch. Okay. So I'm happy. I would love to understand. I really would. I would love for you to explain to me which parts of the movie are the good parts. Like,
well,
which
part did you take the biggest issue with?
Okay, so my first note is actually just I'm uncomfortable. Like that was my first note. And it's just them, this weird beach soccer sequence.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
It's
that was
weird. And they sexualize Amanda Bynes a good amount in this movie.
Sure.
And then they make I'm like, how old are they? And I really couldn't tell, honestly,
They're
until like 30
seniors in
minutes
high school.
They're like seniors in high school, but then when she went to her brother's school, it was like it was a university campus. And I was like, no, but it's still a high school. It's just like a really
Yeah,
fancy
it's a boarding
private
school.
high school, boarding school, right?
because also like these are the problems of like wealthy
Rich people.
suburban rich people. So I was like, okay, cool, that's fun movie. And then I was like, just like thinking about how much everyone is sexualized as like teenagers, and I was like, this is why the internet is full of people who think that Hollywood is like full of pedophiles. Like that this movie is like, look at, and then
The bikini.
look at the bikini, and then she like shows her tits at the end to a crowd
Yeah.
of people to prove, and then her brother showed her dick really like
Yep.
confidently, I have to say, like really nonchalantly, like pulled down his pants. He didn't just
Oh, but-
like trace us like trace it with his shorts. He like fully.
He was proud though. Like that was made
Yeah.
clear by the dad.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, "That's my son."
That's
Clearly,
my
he has a
boy.
big schlong.
I think it also would have been weirder if he had traced his dong with his in his shorts instead of just taking it out.
I mean like
One finger.
pressing his pants on either side.
I know what
not
you
like
meant.
not like taking a piece of wax paper and a crayon, and like.
They would have been like,
A piece of wax paper and a crayon.
they probably would have said like, you could be stuffing because that could have been a sock. There's no way to know.
Yeah, the writers were in the room
know what,
and
I
they
guess
said,
you're
"Look, we need him to show that he identifies as a male and that he has male genitalia. So how do we do that? Well, how about we have him trace his penis through his shorts?" And they're like, "No, that leaves too much confusion about whether he's stuffing or not. Okay, we'll have to have him show his dick."
Okay, but I also feel like, from a female perspective, he showed his dick, and then it kind of like it was commentary on like, he can show his dick, I can show my tits. Like, why is it okay for him to, you know what I mean? I was like, whoa, cool, look at his schlong. And when she did that, I honestly had the question in my head. I'm like, fuck. I was like, oh shit. And then I was like, would I have the guts to do that and just like stand there with my tit? I don't know. I don't think so. And I kind of was like, that sucks. I should be that confident.
And
I agree. If anything, that moment desexualized Amanda Bynes. That was your point, right? Sorry.
Yes. I was saying that it was like making a level playing field. He can show his
Right,
junk,
right,
she
right.
can
Look,
show hers.
And it totally is. That puts it more on a level playing field, that there were both male and female sexual areas shown. Both bathing suit areas were revealed. They are in high school.
So
Yes.
our
Those
dogs
are
are
their
not
teachers and the
commentary.
parents,
Sorry, guys.
everyone around them. And they
Yeah.
were forced to do that by the teachers.
Yeah.
It's this movie is almost every kind of problematic.
But that was
it's unbelievable.
I agree. I was going to say a bigger issue I had with that moment. What? What's happening?
My reactions, I think,
Sounds
Jeff's
like,
commenting, where I'm like,
it's like a little head bobble.
No,
like,
but I
mean,
agree.
like,
A bigger issue I had with that
each their
moment
own.
was the fact that the headmaster, based on just like the hearsay of two angry students, storms the field and essentially puts his kid in a situation where he has to expose himself to a crowd full of people.
yeah, it's sloppy writing. Let's
Or is it
it's
just the
fucking
idiot?
stupid.
But it's also they already made it very clear that the headmaster's a moron, a sweet meaning moron. So
Yeah.
of course he's gonna march out with a loudspeaker and not think about it. He also finds the kid wearing a wig and thinks he's going bald.
Well,
You
it's
know what I
pretty funny.
mean? Like it's
That was
Pretty
was
funny,
Yeah,
just
the
gonna say.
wig's
That was
kind of.
pretty
I like David Cross for the most
Yeah.
part in this movie. I thought the megaphone was fucking stupid.
Really, I loved it.
when he turns and like right in front of
Lays
could you
into
please
him, yeah.
enlighten us?
The announcing it to the crowd, I thought this made no fucking sense, and I didn't like the concept. I just thought it was just super dumb. And you asked me about like what other parts of this movie that I found annoying. Like a part of this movie that should have been a home run was the fair, the festival sequence where they've set it up that Amanda Bynes has to be both herself and her brother to
Yeah.
different people at the fair. That should have been a knockout in this kind of movie.
It's a fizzle.
And it's the worst sequence in the movie probably. It's terrible. She changes for nonsensical reasons and does nonsensical things, and it's literally never satisfying. I think it's abysmal. I'm gonna be the person who's like, this movie fucking
I
sucks.
find it so fascinating that you loathe this film so much. It's just silly, stupid fluff. Like,
I
But it's
find it
badly
hard to
done.
hate. You can't hate
yeah,
it.
everyone's got
It's-
so much charm. Everyone's barreling into things. I loved it.
But I would agree with Jack that the carnival fair, I expected more. Like the craftsmanship on that, it could have been so much smarter. You know, there was only the one where she ends up tagging out Viola.
yeah, she
at the
changes for
kissing
some
booth.
reason.
Yeah,
she changes,
the kissing booth was good. The
Yeah.
rest of it didn't make any sense. Like, hi, Mom. Then she leaves. That makes sense. And then it doesn't make sense again until the kissing booth thing. And then it doesn't. Yeah.
she's Sebastian for like she hops into something to change into Sebastian clothes, but then hops out for 1 second, sees real Sebastian's girlfriend, and then changes back into her normal Viola clothes.
In a bouncy castle. And she
Bouncy
doesn't
castle
lose
with
her.
small children.
She doesn't lose her sideburns in
Yep.
the bouncy castle, but
Yep.
she loses them sitting beside a kid
Yep.
on a bench.
Yeah. Hey, that's just the way the sideburn crumbles. Okay.
But yeah,
I think he has a point. Jack. That one
yeah,
is well,
I mean,
well taken.
it's a horribly done scene. My main issue, my main overall gripe, and I know I speak for Miranda on this as well. Just the general portrayal of kind of what would be considered male and female, let's say, stereotypes
Sure.
in this movie are like atrocious, and like I found them like grotesque.
This movie holds up the mirror to society, Jack. It forces us.
Fucking what? Yeah, great. Thank you, Dan. You know what? Wasn't it Shakespeare that said, "Yeah, bro. Do you see the ass on her?"
Yes, it was clearly written by someone who never socialized with other people. When it comes to those one-on-one interactions between men and women in this film, there's a certain amount of like, but again, like I'm not expecting great things from this film going into it. I'm expecting pretty much exactly what they lay down.
It's called She's the Man.
Yeah,
It has Channing Tatum, who's really good
in like
but
his first
eye
role.
candy. He's
Yeah.
so sweet, actually. He's
Yeah.
so sweet. Like
He's
I
fun.
kind of fell in love with him.
I have a bit of a man crush on Channing Tatum as well after that movie. I will say.
Tater Tots is
Tater
fine in
Tots.
this movie.
You shut your whore mouth, Jack. He is better than fine in this movie.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that later.
Sorry. I just
Come on, quit jumping around.
I get really defensive.
His
Yeah.
new boyfriend means a lot to him.
Sorry.
So
babe.
it just look. I was expecting this movie to be better, and especially because I've heard lots of good things about this movie. I definitely had a bit. Not that I had like my expectations way built up about it, but just how much it like of the movie of its almost 2-hour runtime. Like I was expecting a better plot line where like Amanda Bynes is just like she's just like a kind of androgynous man that connects with people, not because she's like a buffoon. Like I don't buy it. Also, it's a whole other issue. But like
It's got to be broad, right? It's got to be a broad movie because it is. I'm gonna slightly disagree with the tween categorization. I think this is meant for people who are supposed to be the same age as the characters are in the film. I think that it's made for like high school, particularly high school girls. And particularly for like fans of Amanda Bynes, who by this point had a pretty successful TV career going and was in other films. Where was I going with this?
that you're saying that it's broad for the audience.
It's got to be broad because you're trying to do Shakespeare for people who hate Shakespeare. And by and large, the people I know who saw this movie when it came out were like, suddenly interested, probably not long term, but suddenly interested in the source material, which is a lot more than any of the English teachers I had could do.
And I think when you go back into all of these, like this was this mid? I should know this.
2006.
Mid-9? Which one?
2006.
So it's still earlier in the whole feminist movement. We still weren't really talking about.
Well, I guess the fourth wave, hadn't even started.
Like, obviously later than our first movie, but the second movie, I don't know, people weren't like running to see movies about feminism or that like made it okay for girls to play. So I feel like they were still, walking safely in this area. And if she just made it really like,
we're still on the tail end of American Pie is having their spin-offs that are still really successful because people really like that. We have Eurotrip spin-offs and stuff like that. So we're still firmly entrenched in that kind of like high school, university, frat humor and behavior. And I think this one treads around the like dangerous stuff a lot better than like American Pie ever did or
sure.
Yeah.
because even Duke's character says, "Oh, I don't think you should speak that way about a woman."
Yeah.
And I was like,
he's
"Oh,
so sweet."
Like it was just like one little, a little peppering of like awareness of the fact that she's doing this ridiculously aggressive male imitation.
The misconception on her part as well, that like she was misconception of what men really thought and like, and he was like no, but they also do that, and the guys also do that. Like it's the movie kind of wants to have it wants to have its cake and eat it too. It wants to tell this story about men can be more sensitive to and to see people for who they are and not just like date the hot girl or whatever. And yet it wants you to idealize the hot girl and the guys are still bros.
Yeah.
At the
There's
end of the
no
day.
ugly people in this. Even what's her name?
Eunice.
Even Eunice is like still kind of a pretty girl behind the headgear,
Yeah, of course. So like it's just I don't buy it. I just think it stinks of the Hollywood thing you're kind of saying, Sean, it's kind of more proving my point is that it's
I love when people use that. Well, you're just proving my point.
A little bit. You're like, it's a bit better than American Pie while living in that world. That's a shitty world to live in. It still wants to be like an American Pie movie, but trying to own something that's more a female forward. But it's in an American Pie-esque world. And that's the thing. And it comes off as kind of, anyway, just kind of gross. I don't have to keep going on about this. I've clearly made my stance clear.
Yeah,
so I'll stop.
Yep. You love it too much. Well, A League of Their Own.
Fave.
How about Story? That's a well-structured movie, kinda.
Oh, I hated A League of Their Own. I thought this movie was hot, disgusting garbage. No, I'm kidding. I really liked it.
Oh my God. I was almost like, what?
Pulling a Jack on us?
It wants to have its cake and eat shit.
It reeks of Hollywood garbage shit.
Yeah.
Farts.
That's a good impression.
What are we?
Farts, though.
I thought I would have gotten you with
man.
farts.
No.
A League of Their Own has a good story with some minor hiccups, I would say.
Yep. Yeah.
I will say,
Hot take. Hot take,
guys.
guys.
And next thing.
I don't know. Both these films this week were exactly what I thought they were going to be. I'd seen She's the Man like 3 times already, but I'd never seen League of Their Own, so I knew what to expect with that. But League of Their Own, I kind of was like, I know exactly what this film is going to be.
Yeah.
So I don't really have notes for these films at all. Just like, yep, that was that.
Yeah. The again, just because I just mentioned it and you kind of mentioned what I was saying, A League of Their Own has a bit of the it smells. There's like that smell, right? And this isn't a criticism of the movie. I guess I'm criticizing Hollywood this week for being shitty and making people try and make female forward movies in a very misogynistic world, where it's like you can just smell that there were conversations about this movie that are the conversations in the movie that somewhere along the line was like a sports movie about women. Who wants to see that? It's like no. But part of the movie is that they had to wear these like kind of flirty, skimpy outfits in those times. So we get to put Madonna in this like cute outfit a bunch of the time, and they were like, oh well, they might buy that. Yeah. Like it's just something about it smells of it.
Well, I agree, and that was kind of my main issue with this film. Is I thought it was going to be a movie about kind of women taking charge and taking control of their athletic career and like building this league from the ground up and showing that they can do it too, just the same way men do. And then they don't really accomplish any of that. Like they still have to wear the skirts. What? Shut up. They still have to wear the skirts. They don't gain popularity really on their own merit. It's because of the front cover of Time where she's doing the splits. Like it's all.
Yeah, no, but it's about them outsmarting the world that they're living in and forcing their way into a society that has closed them off historically and doing it with their guile and their athleticism.
Well, and the PR team behind them doing exactly what Jack's saying, where it's like it was kind of like Better the Monster You Know. You know what I mean? So it's like they were like on, what was it? I made a note. Oh, right. They did the PR thing, which after she did the splits, and then they kind of go on this whole PR like attack to get it going. And it shows one girl knitting. It shows one girl pouring tea, then doing her makeup, and then it was like, and this girl was Miss Georgia. And then it was like, who's
the really wide shot of Marla from
and this is Marla.
The stunner.
But even that was self-aware of going like, okay, well, and the ugly one sits at the end of the field and just like waves.
Yeah. But it's commenting on its own, on the form. Yeah.
That's what I mean. So I was like, there's a lot of that in there that I enjoyed. I thought was pretty, especially in the Scout. I have like quotes
John
that I wrote
Lovitz,
down.
baby.
Oh my God, he had some of the best quotes.
He's phenomenal.
They were like pointing fun at the patriarchy or the, you know what I mean? The misogyny, which I friggin' loved. Like I thought it was so good.
Well, and he also represents, because he represents the man who has just resigned himself to existing in the structures that he has to exist in to succeed. He knows that these women aren't probably going to go far, but his paycheck depends on taking this train and going and finding them, and he's bringing them, and he sees that these are really special talents, but he knows they're just going to get destroyed by what he's bringing them into, so he's not making a connection. He's just doing his job, and then he's piecing out.
And then he says, going home to give the wife a little pickle tickle. And I was like, what? I kind of love that. All of his stuff was so dry, and like, I literally wrote them. Have you ever heard of a leash? As he like was kicking the chickens.
Yeah.
Did you promise the cows you'd write when they showed up at the train? What was the other one? Oh, see, how it works is the train moves, not the station. I was like, it's just so good.
Oh, yeah. I wanted him to come back, but he didn't. I was so
I know.
sad.
Yeah, I was surprised that he kind of left so early.
He came in the end with the old folks
the old
with
man
the cigar.
played him,
And there were a couple things of that. And John Lovitz, I agree. I wish that character came back. And I thought there was another weird thing in this movie that I wondered if it was like producers, what's happening? Because Marla, the woman who is like the next baseball player introduced, and she has her own introduction scene where they're scouted after Gina Davis and her sister, and she's hitting the balls, and it's like, but she's the opposite. She is like, she's not supposed to be a looker like John Lovitz is looking for, but she's clearly like a great baseball player.
Yeah.
And she then never gets to have her moment where she's
You're
a great
right, the
baseball player.
moment. Yeah.
Just gets married.
And then she just gets
That's
married,
her
and
moment.
that's her climax moment. And she never returns to her love of baseball because she's achieved the goal of marriage now. Yep. I was why?
Is that a commentary, though? Is that a thing where it's like a lot of these women, it's so
I think it was joking with her
them.
being ugly. I think it was being like, she's ugly and she got married.
No, she found love, you guys. She was singing to him. She was singing a really
it was very
low,
cute.
deep jazz.
It was cute.
He was in love. It was cute.
That's funny.
Yeah. I love that scene.
That was funny.
I think honestly, she probably had a bigger plot line, and they just chose to focus, on Gina.
Yeah.
She should have come back. She should have come back. She should have been able to get married and
I couldn't have missed
back.
the game. Couldn't have missed the big game, you know?
Yeah, you're totally right, Jack, that when they have her smashing windows, there should have been in the final game her like that typical movie shot where she hits and the bat splinters and everything goes in slow motion, and she that. You're right.
And hits someone's car window and they're like, no.
Hits one of the protagonist's car windows. Just smashes the scout's window or something on his car.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
And even it doesn't have to be the final game, right? But even if it's you think Gina Davis is going to win it because she's also a great baseball player and she can hit a home run and yada yada, but she gets hurt or something, and then the coach sends up. Everyone's cheering for Dottie, and then the coach is like, no, and puts some Marla, and the crowd is like, Marla, she's not even cute. And then Marla nails it, and then she gets to have a big win moment, and it doesn't matter. She's just, you know what I mean? I was just really surprised that they set that up in the first half of the movie, and then was like, nah, she got married, and also she's not in the second half of the movie. Because she was. She's not the looker.
Maybe we should Google that. Maybe she actually like had to leave the movie for a reason. Maybe there's more behind that.
She got married.
Or they just wrote her out because they suddenly had 9 protagonists and they could not follow all of those
all
plot
of the
lines.
characters. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, this Madonna is really going to be someone we think. We should.
Yeah.
She didn't
Maybe
get a
we
great plot line either. Really, she was
Well,
just sassy.
she was a
Madonna.
device. She wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Madonna had the time of her life doing that role.
Yeah, that was her Lady
Seems
Gaga
like it.
moment.
Yeah.
She just like got to star in a movie.
Every scene that takes place in 1943 is the most charming thing that has ever been put on film.
Yeah, essentially.
Ever. It is glazed over with Hollywood charm and charisma. Just ever.
Pure Americana
Yeah.
pumped into your veins.
The bookends, the modern day,
Trash.
utter
Thank you.
garbage.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And the worst end credit fucking montage also I've ever seen.
With a terrible
God.
Madonna song.
Yeah, it was the worst. Why would you end a sports movie with like dark, depressing, heavy, slow music? I was craving like fucking Eye of the Tiger or like
Early
We Are the
90s.
Champions or something sporty.
Well, because
'cause
Madonna signed on and said,
So then have Madonna
You have
do a
to have-
cover of,
Do a pop song,
of
right?
We Are the Champions.
But it's got to feed off of it's feeding off of that just sappy sentimentality of that final scene where she's going and meeting her old teammates one by one and realizing that some are dead and that time moves on. And I was chatting with Erin about this, and she pointed out that like this film is catered to those women who lived through a time when they were largely forgotten by society, and this is the moment to be like, we see you, we appreciate you, and we're going to end our film by having a nod to you. But it was just so heavy-handed.
"That's why I
For
love
like
this."
20 minutes or something.
But
It
this
was
is why I
so
love this
long.
movie, is because I think its biggest problem was it was tackling a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
At a
Right.
time it was really early for it, but there's so many layers. There's so many things to talk about and write about, and comments and characters that were underdeveloped or overdeveloped. But like, I love the movie for that, and I can't really be mad when they can't figure out how to give everything its due, because I think that's just too much for one movie.
And
Yeah,
it firmly
that's totally fair.
it firmly plants itself as a character film and not a sports movie by
Yeah.
having the final climax be like, oh, did she throw the game for her sister? It's all about that sibling relationship rather than like, we won the big game.
Yeah. I agree though, Sean. The bookends still like
Oh,
it bothered me
ugh.
because also it's that thing where they were because I totally agree with you, Marisa, where it was like this movie's trying to do a lot, and as you said, Sean, as well, like it's trying to pay ownership to these again, forgotten women, and that's super important. It's just tricky because the movie was trying to play as though this was like a based on a true story movie, and it's based on historical truth.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of the movie, it says based on a story. It's just like
based on a story.
so they were like leaning into this feeling of like they just like a long sequence of them walking through the unveiling of the museum, and it's all photos of just like, if it was photos of real people of them in the league, but it was all photos of the actors
Yeah.
in the fake movie.
Yeah,
It just,
yeah.
It didn't. I did.
I think they needed that though, because they needed to show that, because the whole point was them seeing themselves in the Hall of Fame. So it wouldn't have worked. I think you're making a good point for the credits that it should have been. The credit roll should have been the actual
Yeah.
pictures like that, I think.
Yeah.
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 But in the moment, it had to be them looking at pictures of themselves, because that was the whole. I think it was a bit clumsy the way they did it.
Oh,
and it was a bit long.
heavy-handed. Yeah.
But I think they needed it.
They dropped
Yeah, I
the
agree.
ball, as 'twere.
But do you know what I actually loved? And I'd watched A League of Their Own like a million years ago. What I loved was watching Dottie walk away. Like, she came and did the thing mostly because she's
Yeah.
not a quitter, and because she recognized that she just didn't have the heart for it. She was good at it and competitive, and it wasn't the thing. And for her sister Kit, it was. But that she was like, no, this is what I want. It's okay. We're making a movie about the fact that women can do whatever they want to do. Also, women can make babies. We're not disparaging that
Yeah.
that like avenue of your choices. But then I noticed for the first time in the final scene, Kit walks in with like a brood of babies.
10 kids. Yeah.
So you're basically then
choice.
there's this weird thing at the end where it's like you can have it all, but it's not well executed.
No.
It's like Kit didn't give up baseball, and she has more children than Dottie.
Yeah, it's kind of what it came across. Like Kit was still competitive and just like, I'm gonna have a family of 26. Like, never got over it.
Yep. Both films suffer from the montage curse. You gotta. I guess it's the only way to show improvement in sport through montage. But
Although
like,
at least she's the man. No, not she's the man. At least A League of Their Own does it in a somewhat creative way. At least they package it in a device,
Correct.
as opposed to She's the Man, which is just like here's
a
another
montage with
Just
some 2005 music.
Exactly.
Yeah. Bow, bow, now.
With Tater Tots doing some like, I mean, not that surprising, but like, because he's athletic. Those like bicycle kicks and stuff, dude's got kicks.
Yeah,
And then when he throws the ball,
wasn't
he does
him.
that. I think it's Daniel when he
The front flip throw in.
throw in. Daniel's like, he's
That
kind of
wasn't him.
cool.
No, my exact words were Channing Tatum is so fucking cool.
Yeah. Okay, I was trying to give you a little bit of credit there. And
No, it's true.
Lay off.
That was for sure him also, Sean.
The soccer they showed was dreadful. All the
horrible,
like
horrible.
Oh yeah.
edited so poorly. Because clearly, that like there's scenes where she's supposed to be scoring a goal, and the ball clearly goes diagonally off into the bleachers, and they put it in as the setup shot for the goal.
But I think that's why they did that whole thing at the beginning that you guys hated. I didn't find it, as a woman, I didn't actually find it hypersexualized because she was wearing shorts and a bikini. I'm like, who? She's not like she has really huge boobs, and it was like the boobs are flying. We're doing slow motion over sexualized.
Can you let us be woke white men, please?
Okay, you be woke. I can be
really-
you. I appreciate. Okay, let's put a pin in that. Absolutely. But I think they did that to show, like, I have a feeling she, like, studied and tried really hard to get good. Because I think
Oh, I so disagree.
Channing did most of his own soccer. And she was
He did
like,
not.
I
They
can do it
both-
too.
They both learned the sport together.
But this was my problem, was that for any other sports movie, the lead actor is like training to get good in that sport.
Yeah.
You look
And
at
they-
fucking like Michael B. Jordan for boxing and Creed, or like, I don't know, other basketball sports movies. I don't know. But
Channing Tatum in Coach Carter.
and Coach
Eagle.
Carter.
Oh, shit.
But,
Okay,
like,
but
she
we're
Channing
comparing
Tatum
this to the
podcast?
B
Channing
movie.
Tatum in wait.
But she clearly didn't do any fucking training in the game of soccer at all.
The moment that, what's the name of that actor, by the way, the intense British dude from Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, who's the coach?
Oh, Vinnie
Human-
Jones.
The one you
Vinnie
thought was her
Jones,
dad,
yeah.
No.
I kind of love that he's in this movie for some reason.
Oh yeah.
Somehow.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
It's great.
Who's going to be the soccer coach in 2006?
Vinnie Jones. Great.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you think you can play? It's great. But the scene where Amanda Bynes is still practicing, and Vinnie Jones looks out, and she just does like a little hop over a ball, like it's
he's like-
not. And he looks at her like,
And then he's like, "You're
player.
first line," and I'm
"You're
like,
first
"Wait,
line
what?"
now." And I'm like, what? Because she did a little
hop skip?
gallop over a ball.
yeah.
Because
what
that's
happened to
not
that? What happened to the whole montage of him kicking the ball over his head, teaching her she fell to the ground
And
a
then she's
million
dreadful
times
afterwards.
and then she never. I figured that's going to be, the final.
No.
Like usually they give it that much airtime. That's her kick that she wins the game with, and she didn't do it ever again.
I was waiting for her to get married and not be in the movie anymore.
No, that's the other one. That's the other film. That's the other one. Structure, like League of Their Own, is brilliantly written. Structurally, it hits every point it needs to hit within the 1943 framework. If it was just that, perfect movie. If it was just the 1943 stuff, perfect movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I didn't understand
could've
why it was
still-
there. Why the bookend stuff was in the movie at all. It was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, but again, it's to like tip your hat to a group of women who largely are ignored in film, and like what in that era, what like who made a film about that generation focusing on women, right?
And it's the way to tie them into the whole actually being put in the Wall of Fame.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
I like Wall of Fame.
Okay, and I guess
Wall of Infamy.
I guess this is where the stickiness that I feel, okay, that certain Hollywood smell that's on this, because you can even tell, and I think this is kind of the gripe with it, which is that those bookends could have been done fine. Just they're done poorly. It looks as though the studio didn't care as much about those parts as about the main movie with beautiful Gina Davis in it. Like that's kind of what it smells like, because you could have totally bookend this movie. Lots of movies do that, and it's quite touching. It doesn't. It's not a super difficult thing to do. I mean, I don't know. Sorry, I shouldn't undermine it, but like it's doable. People have done it, is what I'm trying to say. There's lots of movies and it feels like they just kind of were like, and and then the ladies go to the museum, and it's filmed worse.
If we want to be super existential, it's basically showing us that Hollywood has not changed and that times have not changed. Because back then they were just going, Gina Davis, we just want you to be pretty. We don't really care if you play baseball. And then Harvey is like, the guys are coming back. We don't need you anymore. You know what I mean? And so it's the same thing as what you're saying as far as Gina Davis, and like the movie's just about her being pretty and not about the actual merits of the plot line.
Yeah, but she's fucking good at the sport, right? They emphasize that like she is an equal to Jimmy Dugan, who is the best that Major League Baseball can throw it in terms of understanding the game of baseball. She can see it just as well as he can.
Yeah. But just for what Jack was saying, which is I think it means that it's still the same thing now and as it was then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those things I want to make it clear. I don't think it's really the fault of the movie. I just think there's some studio stank on it. But I agree. I think that the structure of the movie, especially, I agree with Sean, the stuff back in the 40s is all wonderful. Like it's quite a loving movie and full of lots of really fun, different, varied characters. It's fun. I do not like any of the writing in She's the Man. I think they improv'd a lot. I think Amanda Bynes was seen as like an improviser, and I think that's a big problem. I wish someone had written some lines for her. I think I would have enjoyed her more.
Man, you're crazy. She was so fun in this movie. She was charming as fuck.
I cannot wait to get to acting.
The scene where she's imitating the walks, loved it.
That sucked, but like for the most part,
imitating the what? Sorry,
the walks. The guy's walks I think she's at a shopping mall or something like that. Loved it.
Okay.
What was the one thing that she yelled at him in? Oh, when I laughed out loud, which was totally an improv for sure. When he stuck the tampon up his nose, and she's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "I mean, just be cool. Just rub some dirt in it or something."
Yeah.
And it was totally, it was totally an improv for sure, and it made me like guffaw.
Well, story. Should we shoot it, take it out behind the barn and shoot it in the head?
Please. Okay. Right. So let's say end of round. Let's move on to our next round, which will be interesting, I think, which is looks good. That's the bell bear.
So when I'm not here, what will you just do that?
I do it to the screen.
He does it to the camera.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, no one ever. Yeah. Anyways.
Okay.
What category are we in now? What is this?
Looks.
Right.
Daniel, which looked better?
Ooh, well, I mean, I'll tell you that later on, Sean.
Ooh,
but
stay tuned.
Yeah, but I don't know. Okay, so open with when A League of Their Own started, I got genuinely concerned about the next 2 hours of my life because it looked like shit. But because not even structurally or like with the score or anything, but the actual look of the film is horrendous compared to the stuff in the 40s.
Yeah. They put like filters over the lens, right? They just like fuzzed it over. They put like a dryer sheet in front of the lens or something.
What's wrong?
I loved the beginning because it was so like early 90s nostalgic bad movie, but in that it was bad, but I was like, yeah, this is like 3 Minute Baby. This is early 90s, you know?
Yep.
Gary Marshall.
Yep.
It felt like a scene almost out of like MVP though, that I'm like, what? How good is this movie? Like the kids are acting like weird kid actors, and she's like, mess him up, and like it's like is this movie gonna be bad? And then it's like, oh no, there's a real movie about to start. Don't worry. This is like a pretty movie. I
was convinced that was Gina Davis in makeup.
Yeah, me too for a second.
We talked about this.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to talk about this in the acting section, but like the casting of the old women in this film, fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And that actor that played her name was actually Dottie, and this was like her crowning achievement was playing Gina Davis because she had such, and her mannerisms were actually her own. That's why she got the part. She looked and she had the similar mannerisms to Gina.
Right.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, continue later.
I didn't love the ADR.
No.
It
No.
helped sell it,
Well,
but I thought it also broke
Yeah, it was
and
weird.
made it
Why?
weird.
Why are you doing that?
But
The
it-
voices
speak.
change.
It didn't
Yeah.
help sell it because all the other women have different old women voices now,
Yeah.
and she's the only
Yeah.
one that still sounds like beautiful young Gina Davis.
Yeah.
I wonder why they didn't ask her to put some stank on it, like some old like.
Gina, can you just put a little stank on that for us? Thanks. Yeah.
Kill him. Like
Kill him.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
Oh my lord, is that Marla?
Oh, Marla, like a little, just a little
Yeah.
warble.
Kill him.
Marla.
Yeah.
I thought again we kind of touched on it already. I thought all the stuff in the 1940s was like it's probably the most idyllic picturing of classic white America as you can get in A League of Their Own. It's beautiful.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Yep.
And with some great shots.
But that's the thing, is that it is beautiful and clean and simple, and like
The color palette is lovely.
sure, but it's like meat and potatoes beautiful.
Yeah.
There's nothing that stands out as unique about it that's particularly memorable.
I'm going to give special props to makeup on this film because they took Tom Hanks and made him look like hot garbage, and
Yes.
that's hard to do because that man is a gem and a treasure, and he just
Along
looked
with
like,
Amanda Bynes.
Yep, and he just looked like he'd been put in a washing machine.
We're not putting them together.
Sean
we are
is.
not-
Sean
no.
is.
That is the definitive position of this podcast. Tom Hanks and Amanda Bynes are
No.
equals in terms of their celebrity status and
American treasures.
Yeah.
No.
yeah.
Correct.
I'm the odd one out this week. Fuck. No.
So rare.
It is rare. Usually I get to just pit you two against each other.
Nope, not this week,
Normally
baby.
Jack's a puppet master and he just like
Fuck.
watches me and Sean fight.
Amanda Bynes, I fucking hate her in this. Okay. I hear you. It is meat and potatoes, and it's very clean in a way that is also like kind of tricky. Like they picture there's like the one shot of the black woman who gets the ball and throws it to her.
Okay, yeah, that's a clumsy.
Oh, that was so heavy-handed. That made me like.
I was like, oh, we're gonna get a story where they bring on a black woman onto the team and they confront the racial barriers that women of the time were also. Oh, nope, she's in it for that one. Oh, okay, bye.
But honestly, that would be way heavy lifting. Like even the fact, given when this movie was made, I thought that was pretty ahead of the times to be. You know what I mean?
It's pretty shitty.
It was
it's pretty
heavy-handed
shitty.
and crappy, but not true. You know.
Yeah.
It shows us that we had a long way to go then, and we have a long way to go
We
now.
still have a long way to go.
That's I
yeah.
say what we learned from that scene. And also, what was I going to say? But there are some things that I really did love, and some shots that I thought were really cool. I loved, in particular, I want to give a shout out to a shot in A League of Their Own of when they're racing for the train. And they have the camera inside the train, and Gina Davis is catching up and throwing a case in, and then it goes back, and she runs up again, and she throws the next case in, and then she goes up, and you hear her say, "Here, give me your bag," and then she has Kit's bag, and it's a great shot from inside the train. I thought it was brilliant.
And she gets her kid sister on first. Like there's so many like moments where they're kind of laying in this thing for what happens, which is why I think there's a big thing on the internet. A big argument as to whether she dropped the ball or didn't purposefully.
Well, of course.
Like, there's a big.
What do you
thing.
think? What do you think?
I think she did.
Ooh.
The
She was railroaded. She was railroaded. It's hard to hold on.
So this is the problem. If we're talking about the way the whole story went, like if I'm looking at all these little moments where she put Kit first, kind of quietly, it makes me think she dropped it. But then I think in the end, but then the other side of me, in the one moment, I think she dropped it because she got hit too hard, and it was an indication of Kit actually beating her.
I
for
also
once.
have a question about this though.
Thank you.
Is that how fucking baseball works?
man.
This is my question.
If you're,
so you're just
if you have the ball and you're
If you're
parked
blocking the
on
base-
the home base
If you're blocking the base, the runner has every right to
to just mow you
railroad
down.
Absolutely. And if you drop the ball by doing that, then they're safe.
So you can tackle them.
It's not a tackle. You're moving them out of the way.
But doesn't
With
that,
your body.
But I thought if you tag them, they're out.
yeah, doesn't that count as making
but if she
contact with
drops
the player?
But if she drops it, then she wasn't in control of the ball.
But if I have the ball
she was
and I
holding
tag
it.
the player with the ball first and then I drop the ball, the tag happened first.
But she
I
wasn't.
win.
She didn't reach out and tag her as she slid in. She was
She
holding
was too busy
it
getting
and-
assaulted.
Yeah, that's baseball. That's fucking baseball, baby.
Yeah, it's a dumb sport.
I gotta get the charger for the computer.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, Dad.
I had the same question though. I was like, is that really how this works?
Absolutely. Oh, look up some railroad clips. There's some beauties.
I'm not going to.
Okay.
Sean, I'm really not going to. I don't want my YouTube algorithms to get all fucked up and think I want to see baseball videos.
No, yeah, for some reason you'll start getting Ben Shapiro recommendations just from that.
Yeah, it feels like you're just gonna get those anyway. It's YouTube.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
I want to do now is just text Miranda and be like, can you Google Amanda Bynes? She's the man on like all of Jack's devices, so that all he ever gets is
only good scenes.
Amanda Bynes.
Yeah.
I've been catering my YouTube algorithm for years. That would be the worst. Also, okay, another funny sport thing question. These movies both suffer also from score the goal or win or hit the ball and the game is over.
Yeah.
Problem.
Thank you.
Which it's just frustrating.
Yeah, isn't there a timer in a soccer game? Like, how is it that the end of She's the Man, that goal just like ends the game?
That's what Daniel said. He's like,
Yeah.
it's over?
It's
Maybe it was overtime. Maybe they were tied. It was an overtime.
It was a penalty shot and it wasn't overtime.
Yeah,
Right,
they needed some
But
sort of
they-
ticking
But I think
clock.
she drew the penalty as the whistle was blown to end time. So it was like, ooh, this is it.
Yeah, and they did
that
say
wasn't
this penalty shot will decide the game.
So that movie looked like Mean Girls. Like straight up, they were trying to be Mean Girls with how they were shooting it, how they costumed everyone, the neighborhoods that they had it in. It was definitely like Mean Girls looked great. Let's do Mean Girls.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
With some like somewhat effective
Sure.
soccer shots. Not
No.
the actual game.
You're right.
But some of like the trick shots they have are pretty cool.
Yep.
Channing Tatum looks great.
Tater
That
nuts.
nightmare sequence where everyone's getting elbowed in the face and
Yeah.
bouncing off.
I like
I
the way
loved
cool.
that sequence. I
good.
thought that was really artistic. Actually, I was
Absolutely.
like, dude,
That was good. I woke up for that part. Like I perked up and was like, "Ooh!" Like that was. I agree.
that was really smart.
My biggest look gripe with this movie, and I don't even know if it's fair to say it is a gripe because it's the same issue as in a Shakespeare play. But the fact that nobody was able to look at Amanda Bynes and be like, "You're a girl," or when
Suspend
Olivia.
your disbelief.
Okay, so what about when Olivia, who's in love with girl version of what's his name, Spencer or Sebastian?
Sebastian. Yeah.
And then she hugs real Sebastian, who's like a foot and a half taller than girl Sebastian, and
Yeah.
doesn't realize the difference.
And has,
Suspension of
shoulders.
disbelief.
Or when Sebastian has his whole male speech and shows his junk to the audience and talks in his big deep man voice, and then
Yep.
and then girl Sebastian comes back on the field and talks to Channing Tatum,
Yep.
and he's like, "Oh yeah, you're the same person."
Yeah.
And here's my thing. I would have bought it more, and I would suspend my disbelief more. This is a note for all parts of this movie. If I feel like it's a story note, I feel like it's an acting note, it's a sound note because of how she talked. It's all the things. If Amanda Bynes hadn't been the worst performer I've ever seen in my life in this movie.
We're getting into it in acting. We're getting into
So
it.
anyway, that's part of the reason why I couldn't suspend my disbelief, and I was angry.
Okay.
Well, there was actually a point where I turned to Marisa and I was like, if anybody actually spoke like this, they'd be incapable of making friends. Like it's just people, no human being actually talks like that.
Which is why they had to do the whole play of look at it. I kind of like that they just took a pot shot at men, and it was just like, if he can get the girls, then he must be cool. He must be a guy.
Totally.
3 girls walk up to him and, oh, well, we believe whatever you're laying down now because you get
Because the hot girls
that
are
is-
into
that
it.
guy fucks.
That is
Yeah.
true. That is the law of the jungle.
Pretty much.
I just wanted someone like
This guy
that-
fucks.
look. Sorry, I can't. We'll get into an acting. We'll get into an acting. We'll get into an acting.
Yep.
We'll get into it.
Just take a breath,
Just
Jack.
breathe, Jack.
Breathe into a bag.
Now whenever I see you, I'm just gonna say Amanda Bynes, and you're just gonna break out in a rash.
You're gonna be that tomato shade you are right now here.
I am pretty tomatoey right now because I'm getting all revved up with this movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, but the overall look of A League of Their of She's the Man is nothing special. It's pretty.
Oh yeah, it's 2006. Let's do a film about teens in 2006. This is
Yeah.
how that is shot. Yeah.
So it
cool-
has some like
there-
jolty camera stuff to like make it seem exciting and energetic and whatnot.
I have written down under looks, the bed jump shot in the Malvolio scene was cool. And I don't know what that was.
Say it again.
The bed jump shots.
Oh, when the spider's in their
Is
room
in
and
the
they're
bed.
and they're looking down at it from
Yeah,
their bed. and
yeah,
they're
I think
jumping-
it was
they
ju-
jump across the camera, right?
The jump. Yes, yeah, they're jump. Yeah, the camera's in between the beds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. That was
Yeah,
fun.
that was cool.
Enjoyed that.
I feel like
there's
whoever
some-
was on set, then that was their idea. If it was like the DP or someone's
Yeah.
idea to try it, they're just really excited that they're hearing you shout out their
Yeah, they were
shot
trying
right now.
Oh, and they're
things.
definitely listening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a huge podcast, you guys. Did you know?
Ooh,
Oh, we know.
with TPs. Yeah.
We never even
love
talked about the
DPs,
fucking.
is it?
We never even talked.
Oh, Jack's mad again.
We never even talked about the kissing booth and how
And another thing about the story of this movie.
the rapey as fuck kissing booth. Okay, anyway, god damn it, I hate this movie.
Yeah, kissing
But-
booths
but
don't-
also-
don't
but-
exist, right?
But it's not the movie. Kissing Booth was a thing that
Yeah.
existed.
I've
You know
never
what I mean?
seen one, so I don't know if that is true.
yeah.
They did exist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you pay your $1 and you get a smooch from.
Yeah, generally it was frowned upon that like old men. It was all just it was usually to raise money. It's completely ridiculous, but it did
Yeah.
exist, and in that way, it was another like kind of aware we're making. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pointing out because he had the old guy who's not chewing gum and he keeps joining the line after he kisses whoever's up there.
and the kid that you had a
not
comment about.
funny.
No,
Sean.
that was gonna go with my gripes. I called him the horny fat kid who is destined for a life of hiring sex workers.
Stillwell, the little baby, the little boy in.
No.
Stillwell wannabe
the-
and she's the
The
man.
kid who's
Yeah,
at the
the kid
kissing
at the
booth
fair.
who's like, bro, you don't have to flirt with her. We've already
Yeah.
paid for her.
Yeah,
That's pretty.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
a pretty funny line.
Yeah, but it made me
was
cringe
pretty-
too. I
that
was
was
like,
pretty
oh,
funny.
he paid for it. Yeah.
This is weird. It should be a peck. There was like it was like a long kiss and like Olivia is like, or is it Olivia? Yeah, she's like clearly really uncomfortable. And I was like, this is uncomfortable. I'm very
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Anyway, sorry, I'm shoehorning.
you're
I'm
shoehorning.
Shoehorn.
Looks. I mean, that's looks. I don't know how much more looks we can get.
Any other thoughts? We can move on.
I thought the costuming in A League of Their Own was amazing, and,
Oh, yeah.
and the hair and the makeup and all that stuff. It was just so
The
fantastic.
the dance sequence
The swing
yeah.
sequence.
outstanding.
Yeah, it's
My
really good.
Goodness.
I had a feeling you were going to say something, Jack. I was going to ask you about it later. I'd be like, what about? I just love that in an old movie, they find the time to have a swing dance sequence.
Yeah.
It's not plot moving. It's just cool.
I feel like older movies are more inclined to do that though than
That's why I like the older. That's why
Sure,
every
sure, sure.
older movie you guys have watched for this podcast, I've mostly liked all the older ones because like they take the time to develop character and there's like art
Sometimes
in
3,
the camera moves.
4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
And-
feel things by the end of it because it's not like
Yeah. I appreciated so much too, but like how they did it, that it wasn't one of those like you really have to suspend your disbelief and imagine that like all the 50 people there happen to be professional dancers at the place they went to. But it wasn't that this thing that was happening was like special, that this group of women had showed up and a few of them knew how to dance and there were a couple guys who knew how to dance and they were having like the time of their lives and everyone else was like watching and was like blown away by this special thing that was happening, you know, like
Right.
and
Yeah.
Madonna is awesome in it.
Yeah, she's great.
So charismatic and charming
That's
in that
acting.
sequence.
That's
And
acting.
that's well, no, but I mean, like as her physical dance performance. I mean, she's great. She's
I love
super
that Sean
talented.
has become the category police in this podcast.
Someone has to.
I think it's probably because I go off on tangents as
No,
much
we-
as Jack
It is
does.
all your fault.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say Jack,
Yeah.
as our most experienced fight person here.
Sure.
The cat fight was that not the saving grace for you for She's the Man? Did you not fall in love with this film over the choreography, the thought put behind the hair pulling, the clawing? The screaming.
No. Whatever you said, I don't know how to answer in the negative way, yes or no to that, but I'm just gonna say no.
Okay.
I did kind of find it kind of funny that they put in sounds that were like more aggressive than what was happening. It felt like sometimes that made it seem really severe.
Yeah.
Like she fell and hit her head on the floor, which would be bad enough, but the sound was like this horrible slapping sound that I was like kind of like.
I thought she broke her nose. I thought she was gonna put her face up and have just like a bloody face.
Yeah. It was pretty ruthless. It was an annoying scene, but
I also love that they had the way they showed in that movie that the game was they were well into a soccer game was to just cover everyone in dirt.
I also enjoyed in the soccer game the physicality and performance of Sebastian when he finally came back. I thought he was quite funny physically.
Yeah, I agree.
He would
Almost
just, like,
tripping
knock
over the ball.
He would catch a pass by just like knocking his knees together, and then like it was just like very silly.
Jack's laughing at this film. Jack enjoys this film.
Shut up. There were like 3 laughs, and that was one of them. was
Jack and she's
Sebastian.
the man sitting in. I'm done.
I'm ending the round.
Joined in.
End of round. We're moving on. Let's talk about sounds good.
No.
She did it.
I know.
She did it.
It's
Mostly
Zimmer.
across the board.
It's Zimmer again in A League of Their Own.
Just doing some like nothing with this film sound wise.
Yeah, like corny.
Corny, terrible early 90s music. Just awful. Like
Pretty bad.
wretched.
Early 90s music.
Oh, and she's the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
No, she's
No.
League of Their Own.
League of Their Own. I could not stand the music.
I
except
loved
for, like,
the music.
Except for the like 40s music that it has
swing.
to sound like it's the swing stuff. That's all great. But any of the like
Oh, you
like,
mean in the bookends?
those the bookends,
bookends
the
music
was
was
part of why it was so melodramatic. The music was telling us exactly how to feel. But even like they would throw in the occasional like modern song into the old one to show to make the moment more effective. But it was bad music. I don't know how to say it.
There was like that weird scene at the end. It was just a weird scene between Dottie and Kit. Their last scene, like in the or whatever it is in the change room or the bus station or whatever. It's weirdly acted. It's weirdly written. It's a weird swing and a miss at the end of this movie, in my opinion. And then they try and lift it up with Hans Zimmer doing some stuff underneath, and it just kind of falls on its face, and then someone plays weird music over it.
It's it's like morbidly romantic.
Yeah.
I know it's probably not in the sound thing, but just because you said that, Jack, that was the one thing other than the kind of the odd bookend to the middle part of this movie disparity. But at the end, I found like they ended it 3 times, and none of those 3 times were successful. The first time they end it was in the dressing room, like not as successful as they wanted it to be. The when she bought the flag and then Kit hugs her twice and you're leaving when I want you to stay. Like that was an okay line. Like I felt like that could have been crafted better because she'd wanted her, that kind of made sense. Yeah. But then they have another ending when they see each other and Kit like bites her lip and looks really verklempt and goes over to her sister at the Hall of Fame and they're like, and I'm like, okay, so that's the end. And then they do, but then I think in the middle there was also they're standing at the bus and Dottie's like, hag, nag, like there's 3 goodbyes, and I'm like, why are there 3?
Goodbyes. That is fucking true. Didn't pick
it should
up
have
on
been
that.
one clear. They just should have spent a little bit more time and I don't know, devised something that was better.
Yeah.
Yep. Better. Be better.
Can you make a better movie, please? Dear A League of Their Own.
Be better.
So yeah, I agree. The music though, like I think it stuck with the most because I think they tried to get Hans Zimmer to come in and add some music to make these kind of these parts that didn't fit or were repetitive or whatever kind of feel more grounded and emotional, and they weren't. In the way they just had been crafted to do that. So yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. At least She's the Man has some fun music. They had the best music. They had the better music for their not training montage, but the tryout montage that both movies had.
I remember League of Their Own. I don't remember.
It was like the dope reggae
Oh no!
There was. I
That
would
was
say every
fun.
time like a big song hit in this movie, me and Marisa were both like full blown jamming on the couch.
But
Right.
because you weren't really invested so deeply in the storyline. It was all kind of fluff that when a good jam came on, you were like, yeah.
Well, and it's like a
whatever.
fun teen movie. The whole
Yeah.
point of it is to have fun,
Yeah.
right? It's not.
You're there with your friends watching the film, or you're on a date. You're on your like first date ever with the girl you really like, and this song comes on. You can be like, "I love this song, yeah." You know, maybe that was just me.
That was just you.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
I would love to see young Sean on his very first date. Aww. What was that? Tell us the story of
Oh
your
my
first
gosh,
date,
it would
Sean.
be. I bet it would be like Duke when he's trying to talk to women.
I definitely did watch this film with the girl who turned out to be my first girlfriend, but we weren't dating then. So
Did you
there.
know how to
No wonder
talk
you
to
like
her?
this movie.
Did you
No.
ask her if she likes cheese?
Did you send her a wheel of Gouda?
No. Maybe,
He's like, no, I
maybe
fucked her in
that's-
the parking lot.
Aggressive. So aggressive.
All right.
Oh.
And here
Back
we
to
are.
sound. Back to sound. I need to say that I loved the I'm moving on. Shoehorn. I loved the sound for the 1940s part of A League of Their Own. I thought it was really cool. I feel like it would have been a challenge. I was thinking, like, what do you put to that when it's a period piece? I thought their use of swing, because usually in the montages with the training, it was usually swing, and I loved it. Similar to the one in the bar.
The big
And
band.
I made a note. I was like, love the swing, like, because they had a kind of a cool. I just felt like it was a cool choice for the era piece of the
And
movie.
a shout out. After I was going to bring this up in acting, but I think it works in sound too. Is Harry Shearer as the announcer in the black and white films, who you'd know from The Simpsons, who voices a ton of characters on The Simpsons.
I knew that sounded familiar,
yeah.
like that voice. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I also want to give just like a shout out to that. I guess it's a past looks and whatever. The fact that they did that old timey newsreel thing was I'm glad they made that choice and stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the boys are off to war, but who shall?
And
But
a
how
reminder
shall
to our
baseball
fan base,
exist?
you can still send in those 30 box tops to name my 20s, 30s, 40s voiceover reporters. So get on that.
Yeah.
Thanks for picking up that ball, guys. You sons of bitches.
I didn't know what I was picking up
Jesus
there.
Christ.
I was gonna make a bad joke, and I didn't want to.
I was formulating a response.
Swing and a miss. Ah!
But the old timey broadcast stuff, when he did say, our guys are trading in their whatever for this color, and
That's for guns.
they're saying, look out, Mr. Hitler, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Love it.
It was like shocking and hilarious at the same time.
Like that's how war used to be publicized, which is wild.
Yeah.
Look out, Hitler! Our boys in blue are on their way to give you a good old smackaroonie in their schnocker. Like,
Sock you right in the nose. Sock fascism right in the nose. Yeah.
so I agree overall though that like A League of Their Own had it had probably maybe higher highs in terms of sound, but then lower lows. Like it just
Yeah,
it had
the
a
ADR
bunch of
was rough.
the ADR was bad. It had detracting sound because when it wasn't fun, like jive and jazz music, it was like weirdly somber, like Band of Brothers music
Yeah.
over these people.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the
you know,
country was at war, Jack.
I guess. I see. So this is actually a.
Yes. They were fighting Hitler.
It's actually a movie about World War II.
So people thought that Tom Hanks produced Band of Brothers after doing Saving Private Ryan, but it was actually
It's this one.
he was like the real story that needs to be told from A League of Their Own is about with all those guys.
That was an effective scene when he like forces the guy to leave the telegram with him.
Telegram. I was
and he
impressed
reads
with
it.
that.
He informs Betty that her husband's not coming home. I was like,
I liked it because it was like a little nod to what's actually happening out in the world.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah,
reminder of why
yeah.
we're having this story in the first place,
little
why they're
reality check
playing,
there.
and the fact that these women are like, not only are they have they undertaken this incredibly challenging thing of professional baseball, because it's no joke. They were training and sweating and
playing 6 times a week. Yeah,
but also in the back of their minds worried if their husbands were ever going to come home and their loved ones. So it's like I found that really sobering in a good way.
But I agree. I thought it's a very powerful scene. I thought the way it was shot, except for the beginning of it. Can someone tell me what the fuck was up with that telegraph guy? Is he a monster?
Bitch.
Is he a psychopath?
They needed an obstacle.
I
The
mean,
guy who delivered it, but he's like, it's not. I don't have a signature for it, so
I
you
forgot
can't
the
have it.
signature.
and he starts like chastising them. He's like, "Look, I don't have time to do this," and then he's like, he gets like pushed out of the room like really weirdly.
It's because people in shitty jobs need to feel like they have some kind of power, and that was him asserting his.
That's
I
not
mean,
wrong.
I guess so. But if
That's
you're
not wrong,
if you're delivering telegraphs from the War Department, it just seems like you
Do
would
your
be
job right,
Yeah,
You're
have some compassion.
Yeah,
I feel
you're
like
a monster.
maybe it was to double down on the fact that that a lot of people in those societies didn't really value or worry about what the women were going through. Just like Harvey was like, "Cool, you did all this work. I don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
Who cares? I've built them up and I've built up their dreams, and now I'm just going to cancel because it's not going to make me money, and the guys are coming home." And this telegram guy's like, "I don't know. It's just my fucking job. Here, your husband died. Who
And
you know?"
after you deliver like to how many thousands of those do you have to deliver before you're like another dead
Desensitized.
guy? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fair point. I just fair point.
Didn't need the repetition of the All American Girls baseball song.
That was
Oh.
so bad.
I needed that at least one more time.
Over the credits.
So bad.
Oh, see, that would have been a better credit choice.
It would have been.
It would have.
A recording of the actual women singing it would have been awesome.
Yeah, kind of like the style when you get all your celebrity friends together to do a motivational song to like raise awareness for something, but they just bring them all into the studio, all the old, the greatest generation women to sway back and forth singing the song. I'd be down for that.
So, sorry. Here's the thing, though. There was one real photo that they showed, and the only one real photo that they showed was the woman showcasing their outfits on top of the dugout.
Right.
Which again is why I say this movie has this stink on it. That's not like it's as much of a honoring the real history of it as it is them covering their bases and saying, no, we did this because people were shitty to women in history, and so we were just showing that, as opposed to showing other photos of just like the actual women. Again, I thought it was really annoying that they showed photos of the actors as though it was, I don't know.
I think I clocked that too, and it made me think the person because just like they did such a good job of later on casting the old people to the young people, I think they did a lot of the characters. If you look at who they were, they actually look very similar to the people, like the actors they chose to play the actual baseball players, because a lot of these baseball players actually existed in the league. That actor that played the girl, because there was the moment in the movie where she put the outfit on when they first showcased the thing. I thought I had a question mark in my head. Was that the movie actor or was that the actual person? Because they looked similar. Like I thought they did a good job. I think they were just trying to get one over on us, honestly. And you were just too crafty, and you were like, "No, Jack sees it."
We've been watching a lot of movies on this podcast. I've grown more critical.
Can't get one past us.
No. Amanda Bynes needs to die.
Okay, I mean, speaking of, can we get to acting so I can roast
Sure
this
fucking
bitch?
can. Wow.
See, I wasn't that exaggerated.
So much for a group of woke white guys,
Jesus
eh?
Christ.
Look, we've been watching a lot of Drag Race, so I'm sorry if that word is too easy on my tongue.
So you're okay. Yeah, I see where it's coming from. All right.
Yeah,
All right, end of round here.
nice. So let's move into our fourth and final official round, which is act good.
Oh, do I get to start the round?
No, I was prompting you to do the bell bear.
Oh crap.
You can if you want. If you have some thoughts, please launch in.
No, I don't want to take.
Amanda Bynes is a national treasure.
Amanda Bynes is a hot pile of garbage in this
National
movie.
treasure. Her career was cut short, sadly, by substance abuse brought on by her sharp rise to fame and managers who did not manage her very well.
Which is sort of the story of every child actor from Hollywood ever.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to Macaulay Culkin? Feel like he's still...
The Amanda Show.
Oh, he's fine now, and he's famous still.
Yeah, he's great now. The Amanda Show was, I would say, like a brilliant sketch comedy show for its like oeuvre, you know, for
For its egg?
yes, no, that's oof.
Okay.
And this is French Class with Sean.
For the people that it was geared towards, it's not Saturday Night Live. It was probably better than Saturday Night Live is now, I would say. But she is a comedic. She's comedic gem. She has great timing. She her face is molasses. She can do anything with it, and that's fucking funny.
And she does.
Yeah.
Sean, before we even get to anything else, can you just be honest with me and tell me how much of a crush on her you had growing up?
Like
Sean.
Not top 10.
Not top 10. Okay, you
Not
talk
top 10.
about her like she's your like top 3.
No, I respected her.
Oh.
Well, we learned earlier in the podcast that you lost your virginity watching. Wait, no. How did the story go? Wait,
No, that's the
anyway.
parking lot story. Yeah.
Okay. But I see that she was trying to. It looked like she was trying to do like a new Jim Carrey type thing. Like she wanted to be quirky and weird.
And fucking nailing it.
Yeah.
No, not nailing it.
Here's the nail. Here's Amanda.
No.
Nailing it.
No, repeatedly nailing my thumb over, crushing my hand with the hammer.
sorry
and the
you
nail.
Yeah,
Feel that
dude,
way.
she was crushing it. She
Yeah.
was
Crushing
fucking
it.
crushing
Okay,
it.
I'm gonna
Immense
play
talent.
referee here. I'm gonna referee this. I'm gonna put myself firmly between the two camps. Okay.
Okay.
I
Okay.
feel like Sean and Daniel. I agree with them because there were moments where I could see her timing was awesome. Like I could see she has comic timing. I agree with Jack that I believe it might have been too much. It's like there were moments where it was just it
was
wasn't
bad
rooted in
direction.
truth. Yeah, someone needed to
And bad
rein her
editing.
in
They
and
chose
say like
bad cuts.
like someone needed to rein her in and just be like, because sometimes when it happened naturally, organically, and it wasn't like 4 faces and it was only 1 or 2, I was like, that's funny. But then she'd just kind of go off too far. So, and it would take me out of the moment because
Sure.
it became about the faces she was making.
Yeah, I would
Sure.
say, I agree with that. I think that any time that she was, actually, I don't know if this is what you were saying, but my take is, any time that she
No,
was
tell us
not,
what your girlfriend was saying.
Yeah, so what Marisa meant to
Please,
say.
please mansplain.
No, but so in my opinion, whenever she wasn't playing Sebastian, whenever she was just Viola, I thought that she was great. I thought that she was so fucking charming and funny and quick-witted, and a lot of that stuff clearly was improvised, and she was really sharp. But every single thing she did as her brother was painful to watch.
Yes.
It was like she decided on the first day of shooting what she was gonna do. And by that I mean the director said action, and then she kind of just like started spitting stuff out of her mouth.
She had like a pseudo Jamaican accent.
Yes,
sometimes.
that was-
what the fuck was she doing?
That was my note. I was like, so I don't. The one part that stuck out was Duke was like, "Whoa, you just sounded like a girl there." I'm like, and literally 2 seconds later, she's using her same register, and there was no like register change throughout. It was just she kind of had some mild like dyslexia and like some kind of like issue. Like it didn't.
Right.
I didn't think it was an accent instead of a...
I think that is a problem with directing. I think that is no one
Probably.
was giving her clear
saving her.
No. She is brilliantly funny. She has good sense. She knows how to throw things out there, and she just needed someone to like, sculpt it a little bit, and there wasn't that.
Sure, it's also a failing on the movie generally. Yeah. Look, her thing where she was like, "Oh, so man, like maybe I wanna go out sometime." Like, oh,
she has like
this
a
weird
speech impediment.
Hugely
weird.
popular in 2006.
Look, it breaks the movie because you have to then assume that everyone around her is an idiot.
Yeah.
That they're like, yeah, you're a person.
And they are.
It breaks it. It's horrible.
Except
it could have been funny for. Sorry, Marisa.
No.
It could have been funny for a scene where like she's like, "I'm trying to be a guy," and then like someone's just like, "Hey," like, or like, her hairdresser friend is like, "Can we work on that? You can actually just talk like a person still. You see how I'm talking? I'm not doing like, you can just do that and that'll be better, I think." And he's like, and then like, it could have been a scene.
They
where people
did
are like, that guy's
show
weird.
that.
But instead, she does it the whole movie, and I wanted to rip my hair out. Sorry, I'm done.
They showed a little bit of that in that, like, when she first came in to Duke and his roomies, they were like, what did you? And for the first little while, like, they were hiding. They didn't want to, when they went to where was the place?
'cause she was
They were
weird.
like, this is weird. And then, but it doubled down on the whole trope of, like, if this guy fucks, so
Sebastian
he's
fucks.
so he's
So he's
cool,
in.
even though
Yep.
he speaks like a weirdo.
So
You know?
Correct.
yeah, but it should have just been that one scene, and then it should have been cut out. It should have.
I agree. It should have leveled out. Yeah.
Because it gets ridiculous then when it comes to Olivia, and Olivia's talking like, I've just never met anyone like him. You know, he's so sensitive. You mean like that weird guy who like thinks he's a Rasta and talks about like, oh, you know, just me and them hanging out, just we want to kick it, you know? And so I said to them like, haha, like, what up?
What I love the most about this, Jack, is that that's your Rasta impersonation.
I'm not trying to do a Rasta. I'm not trying.
He's trying to do bad Rasta. Is what
I'm
he's
talking
doing.
about all the time she went, mine.
Yeah. But it was kind of funny.
It's more cute.
It was
funny.
Yeah, when you did it,
Two
it
of
makes
them
it
is funny.
cute. But also to your point, when she as he was talking to Olivia, he dropped all that. She dropped all that. See, why am I believing this right now? She dropped
Right?
all that
Because it's
she
effective.
felt comfortable because Amanda Bynes is a genius.
Yep.
But she did drop that game when she was talking to Olivia because she wasn't trying as hard. So that whole Olivia thinks she's great. Whenever she talked to Olivia as Sebastian, she didn't have any of that bro down stuff.
She did it when they were like in chemistry class still.
But that's because Duke was listening. But when
Yeah,
Duke wasn't listening, she'd turn to her and just be like, "Oh, well,
That's
what
what
do
I
you
mean.
think?"
It kind of just breaks the movie though. It makes
It's
things
layered.
keep breaking.
It's nuanced.
Sean, you better shut up, man. No, it's not. This is like an aberration of acting. There's definitely it could look. I'm not disputing that she definitely has talent and is like someone who's willing to go places and try things. She needed to be coached. The movie needed to be crafted. She did not. It did not benefit her to have the whole responsibility of this movie on her shoulders as
Yeah.
like a soloist performer.
Sure.
That was bad. It should have been crafted, and someone
And
should have
yeah.
said, "Oh,
And-
this is actually kind of funny, but we're not going to have the whole movie because that's dumb and it makes all the other actors idiots."
And
this
I agree
was,
with Daniel. I think you said it was like it feels like she just walked on set and was this half-baked idea of how she was going to play
Yeah.
Sebastian. Like I get that, but I never at any point thought this was a serious movie, so it didn't bother me as much.
No,
Yeah.
but you like sure, but like I said to you when we were watching the movie, she is just doing a cartoon version of every girl's impersonation of like a dumb
Yeah.
guy.
What has
There's-
Adam Sandler ever done that's different, though?
Adam Sandler has some pretty phenomenal
Yeah, but
performances
it's all
in movies.
Yeah, sure, he does. No,
I think
like,
he's comparing
not
the
shitting on him.
stickiness.
But
of
I'm
the
saying,
acting.
why do we accept Adam Sandler in his middling movies where he's just why is that cool? But like these,
I think because she goes like all the way. I think because she puts
Right.
it out there, she's easier to judge, right? Whereas Adam just like talks like himself when he's in a middling movie and doesn't make huge choices.
I hope he doesn't talk like this.
Well, when he plays those characters, everybody calls attention to how fucking weird he is. Like you're doing your little
Right.
Nicky right now. Little Nicky is essentially an outcast wherever the fuck he goes, right?
Yeah.
And she and he's playing a person. He's not playing like
Yeah, and
he's
she's
playing.
This is a tangent. If we ever got on one, here we
I'll
go.
explain it. Never mind.
It's layered and nuanced, as Sean said.
Layered and nuanced.
It's layered and
to
nuanced
change
for
it,
sure.
did either of you or all three of you recognize her mom?
I did, but I can't remember where I know her
Oh.
from.
Yeah, tell us.
Airplane.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
I thought she was equally
no.
delightful in this. I thought she was great in this.
False. I thought she was insufferable in this movie.
Yeah, I also
Yeah, she's
didn't like
supposed to
it.
be.
But like not in a
Yeah.
fun way. I thought it was. I just
Oh.
wanted her to get off of the screen.
Wow, you guys really hate love and fun this
Ooh,
week, huh?
ooh.
No, I had a
fun
good
or
time
no?
in this movie. I had a good
There's
time in this
not.
film. I just thought she was horrendous.
And there's no legitimate love in this movie. I'm sorry, there's no grounded moment where I believe it.
What
I
about
disagree.
Olivia and Sebastian, the real Sebastian in the end, in the best love story ever
Oh my
told?
God, Daniel was so annoyed. He's like, she doesn't even know him. I'm like, She loved his lyrics.
Yeah, that made no fucking sense. The fact that Olivia and Sebastian end up together at the end of this movie is fucking ridiculous.
No, because they're so similar. They're
but
twins. They have a lot in
Shakespearean,
common.
right? That's the comedies
true.
end with everyone pairing off and
That's true.
and
It's one of
they
the
all
things
find
that
love.
drove me crazy about Shakespeare comedies. Is I was like, this doesn't. How come everyone's this doesn't make any sense? So this
because their
had to
lives
make,
were horrible, so they needed to go see something on stage
But
that
wait.
wasn't.
Shoehorn. You know your artist that you just said. Did you recognize? I've got one from A League of Their Own.
Okay, drop it like it's hot.
Rosie O'Donnell.
No, that
That's who that was.
one of the girls on the Racine baseball team. They showed her a couple times in the work in the. You got that one too?
It was Nicole Kidman.
No, he thought it was Nicole Kidman. I was like, that's not even close to Nicole Kidman. No. It's Tia Leone from Jurassic Park
3.
and Jurassic Park 3 and Scully, X-Files.
No, that's Gillian Anderson.
Well, she's in X-Files, so she's not Scully, but one of her credits is X-Files. I thought it was Scully, but it's not. Okay. But I recognized when I was like, what is that from? And it was Jurassic Park. It was the mom,
It was
right?
Scully. No, it wasn't.
Nah,
Well,
okay.
she's on the show, though.
She's on the show. I got excited when I saw that. I was like, I didn't watch the X-Files, but I checked her out on IMDb.
I think
IMDb.
her, good movie with her and William H. Macy, The Cooler, from around like 2006, 2007. Quite
Didn't
good.
see that one.
Shout out to the Cooler.
Cooler. David Cross.
Love
It,
David Cross.
Didn't
like
see it.
David Cross does.
David Cross. Yeah. I enjoyed him for the most part as well. I thought he was doing some really funny stuff.
I thought the character was fucking stupid, but I
Yes.
liked him doing it.
Wait, who was this again?
David Cross was the headmaster. And
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Tobias
that
in
character.
Arrested Development.
Yeah, such a poorly written character with no
But he
business
did
in the
everything
movie.
he could with it. And
But
it was great.
he brought it to life. He really lifted the words off the page.
Oh,
You know.
barf.
Yep.
When
Nuance,
he
layers,
said nuance, like when he said I felt he really hit home that like way try hardy principle that's trying to connect when he was like, here, take a seat in my chair, go ahead, it'll be fun. And
in
you're
the
just like,
principal's chair.
"Whoa." And then he like jump squatted into the other chair and he's like,
I liked his pep speech too of like, no, you don't have a hair condition. Eventually you're going to have to come out as a baldy. You're balding. You have male pattern baldness. And let me tell
don't
you,
worry, the chicks dig it.
love it.
What was that? What was
That
that?
was a great choice.
I didn't know what it was. Was it supposed to be like a dog call?
It was,
Sure,
it was him being
yeah.
awkward.
It's
romantic.
Dave Cross
The
making
best.
choices that are brilliant.
I also
Tater nuts?
I thought that Tater Tots. I don't know that I've ever liked him more in a movie than I did in this one.
Better than in The Eagle for sure.
Wow.
Thank you for saying that. I thought the same thing.
Yeah,
It
I
suits
thought
him better.
Wait,
You're welcome.
wait, pause. Jack just said something positive about She's the Man. We
He
need
said
to.
a few positive things.
Yeah, he loves this movie. He's just been a
There
little
are a
bitch about it.
few
He loved this
positive
movie.
things, but mainly that Amanda Bynes fucks it up is actually my main issue.
Oh man.
You said you laughed 3 times. You've told us 1. I'm waiting for the other 2. Just FYI.
There was at least one line that she said. Well, you have to talk for a second. I can do
Yeah.
a look. Maybe I'll find one. But
You said earlier. You said earlier there weren't any like grounded moments of love.
I stand by that.
No. Channing Tatum, when he walks, it's terribly schlocky actually when she's standing by the pond. I like that the guy walked up and wasn't him. I thought they should have done it a bit faster than that. It was a bit like taking too long.
there's some pacing
that
issues.
scene looked like it was out of a horror movie. There was nothing romantic about that at all.
With the fog creeping,
Well,
you could just see the
did lean
fog
into
machine.
that.
Basically,
He's in a tux though, and he looks so good.
and there's a moment. I swear to God, my ovaries leaked. He turned.
You should have that looked at.
Is that how ovaries work?
Yeah, when you want to make a baby with someone because they're so hot.
So they leak.
Yeah.
So wait, what happened? What was the moment?
It was when she turned and it's the first look at him, and just before he speaks, and he blinked. He just blinked, and it was just his right eye, and there was just this like
A wink?
No, he
Did you
just
rewind
blinked.
this and watch it a bunch?
No, but it got me. It was like
Oh,
his little There's a moment there before he walked forward, before Amanda Bynes kind of took it into her like, because she's not as good at the grounded stuff. She took it into the like, she made jokes about it. So she sort of pulled me up, but he was like sitting in it, and he was just like,
Yep.
it was so good.
Yeah,
I thought he was hot when he was playing soccer.
Yes.
he was
when he
hot
was- when he was-
throughout.
when he was doing that. That was my top moment for him. Not the tux. It was actually him just like being active.
Sure.
I liked when he was showing his sensitive side in their dorm room and defending women.
That was honestly one of the worst scenes he did.
Totally.
Yeah.
But to argue your point, Jack, about there being no scenes of like grounded love, he was sincerely falling in love with what he thought was his male roommate the entire movie.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
kind of wanted the movie to end that way, that he's like coming out and then he's destroyed, that he finds out that it's
He
not
comes out
actually
to
who he
real
thought he was.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
Tell me,
Then,
is
like,
this-
has to leave school because he's so distraught.
Because it's 2006 and
Yeah.
we're just not there yet. Yeah.
And David Cross on the megaphone is like, he's gay.
Yeah.
Like outs him in front of everyone.
They did make one of his buddies gay by like a little tiny moment. You know, at the end when they were walking in the whatever that event was, the
Cotillion?
Yeah.
cotillion or the rite of passage
the
for women.
debutante
Blah
ball.
blah blah.
Debutante
Yeah.
ball,
Right.
She's walking and her gay best friend who helped her
Yep.
transition into
The hairdresser.
Sebastian,
Yep.
like fixed something in one of Duke's buddies' roommates.
Yeah, I think it was Andrew because Toby's
Yeah.
after Eunice, right?
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
Andrew, and Andrew kind of looks and goes, "Ooh," and just this little moment, and then just goes back to clapping, and I was like, "Okay."
Well,
And-
not to mention her friend looks at her on stage like, I'm gonna fuck this guy later.
Yeah.
She gives
missed
him.
that
She
part.
gives him like he like looks at her from underneath his eyebrows and like kind of raises one and like it's a totally I'm gonna
Is
fuck
that
this
is
guy.
that what that face says?
To me, made my
You
ovaries
should-
leak.
You should work on. You should work
Eunice?
on that.
You should put a
Eunice
tampon in
was-
there.
Yeah, Eunice was phenomenal. Loved every moment Eunice was on stage.
I liked Eunice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got confused as the whole brace headgear scenario because she was wearing headgear,
Yeah.
and then on the next episode, next scene she was wearing braces, and I was like,
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Maybe she had the headgear taken off in between.
Because she was trying to be more pretty for the guys who are now so aggressively pursuing
Yeah.
her.
Right.
And Toby loves her.
I kind of wanted her to be like, because she paused. I thought she was going to be like, you're not my type. And I kind of wanted that to be because she was always saying yes to every guy, and for
Yeah.
her to just be like, no, sorry,
Yeah.
you're not my type.
You should write for this film.
The guy who played the coach of Amanda Bynes'
Vinnie
school
Jones.
soccer team. No, the other one.
Oh, the
Oh, the
misogynist.
original coach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a fucking dumpster fire. That guy sucked ass.
Yep.
Yeah. He came across like some like WB fucking, made for TV movie-esque actor who got a
Yeah.
little break on this.
Aaron's watching a show right now called Revenge, and it's
Oh, that show.
utter garbage.
It's
But yeah,
trash.
he's right out of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe she's watching that. I love that for her.
What is it? What is revenge?
It's a soap opera for
a
pretty
soap
people.
opera.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
I
But
have
it's
a
like
quick
trying to be cool.
I have a quick question. That scene we were talking about when they're lying in bed and Duke is like spilling his heart to his roommate who he's falling in love with. Is it a thing where guys actually can't talk eye to eye? Because I kind of loved that every time each of them would go to sit up and like communicate intentionally looking at each other, they'd both get uncomfortable and go back to lying down because that's just apparently the way that guys have to talk about real feelings.
I've heard this described that it's actually more common that women, female activities, not to stick to the binary too much, but women will activities are more face to face, whereas male activities are more shoulder to shoulder.
So maybe that's it.
And I think it is actually a little bit of a thing, and I don't know exactly why.
I thought it was interesting because I thought, you know what, that actually makes sense. Like, I think I can, at least with my brothers, they can only do so much like feely, straight on, in your face, honest, open heart thing, and then they're just like, okay,
It would be like easier if you were driving in a car together.
yeah.
It would be easier probably.
Because like the business is happening over here, and that you can go to this and kind of avoid whatever.
Yeah. You can be more
Well, and
vulnerable.
it's true also that most men are like very uncomfortable
With feelings?
With feelings,
Yeah.
and which is why I love Tater Tots so much in this movie, because seeing a guy, I mean, he's not very big, but he's definitely a jock in this film, and just seeing,
Oh yeah.
which I also love because I'm used to seeing like bulked up, jacked Tater Tots, so seeing little Tater Tots is really nice.
Tater tots. Why do you guys call them
Tater
tater
nuts.
tots?
But yeah.
I like Tater Tots because
I like
he's
Tater Tots.
he's still a bit of a potato man.
Because Tatum,
I always mix up his first and last
Yeah,
name.
you call him. What do you call him?
Tatum Channing.
She calls him Tatum
I
Channing.
always say that. I'm like, oh my god, it's that show with Tatum Channing, and he's like,
Carol Channing.
Anyways, it was nice to see a jock played with such sincere vulnerability. And to answer your question, yes, a lot of men who are emotionally closed off have a very hard time maintaining eye contact.
thank you, Daniel.
This has been male sensitivity with Dr. Daniel.
This is
Full silence.
hashtag Jordan Peterson.
Crickets.
Yeah. Hey,
So
Tom Hanks is a national treasure, and
Tom
his
Hanks
career
is a
was
national
not cut
treasure.
short
No.
tragically by drugs.
Fuck you. I couldn't stand Tom Hanks in this movie.
What is wrong with
is that
you?
real?
Well, you weren't
Yeah.
supposed to stand him. You
No,
were supposed to
I-
kind of hate him.
Okay, let me what's what I'm looking for?
Man's a genius.
His sober parts of the movie, yes, Tom Hanks, brilliant, genius. His drunk acting, I thought was like cartoonish and
Daniel,
hard to
you
watch.
haven't been drunk in like 4 years, so like.
But before that, I was drunk most of my life, so I know how it goes.
no
Oh,
in
no,
the
he's
parking
great.
lot.
Yeah.
Of course, he's putting on. He's
fucking
putting
the
on the
parking lot.
drunk. He's putting on the drunk, but it's like he is just charmed from start to finish. There's nothing not to like about Tom in this film.
Because he's not just drunk. He's soused.
Yeah.
Like he is deep in the souse.
Yeah.
Like he's gonzo.
If he
in
sobers
much
up,
of this movie.
he's gonna have the tremens. He's got to live in the bottle, right? Until she gives him a Coke.
Oh, that was weird.
That was weird.
That's,
But it
they're
tastes
like,
so good.
We don't
funny,
know
though.
it was a
Yeah.
Coke because there was no label on it.
but anyway,
Yeah.
A cola.
We
that's-
rewound. We were like, wait, is that product placement? No.
I mean, it for
Nope.
sure was.
Just
this
but-
film.
There was some product placement in She's the Man that was pretty awkward.
Which
Someone came on screen at the end of the movie wearing a Gatorade hat.
I didn't see it.
notice that.
It's like very blatant.
Brilliant.
yeah.
Rosie's great. Madonna's great.
Mom's great.
The
Th-
sisters
that
great.
comedy duo I thought was so smart, Madonna
Yeah.
and Rosie O'Donnell.
Yep.
Fucking
Give
brilliant.
them their own movie.
Yeah,
This is
actually
this
though.
This is an incredibly watchable film. The
Yeah.
middle bits. Yeah.
Although I could have done with a different lead. I thought Gina Davis was boring.
Yeah, it's like she wasn't doing what I was hoping she was going to do.
She
with
wasn't
it.
doing much of anything.
Except I think that was her character. I think that's the writing is because she didn't want to go in the first place. She went for Kit. And then when she was there, she's but the whole
So she's just boring. She's
well,
just
the
a
whole
boring person.
no, but the whole point is that she
That's the character.
Shut
She's
up.
boring.
The whole point is that she's good at it
Yeah.
and she's highly competitive,
Yeah.
but her
But she
heart
doesn't need
isn't
it.
in it. And
Yeah.
so she's just doing it to pass the time. And when her husband comes back, she's like, her first instinct is, I don't need it anymore. Because it was a distraction and for Kit.
Right,
You know what I mean?
but you're talking about her character choices, like the choices of her character. That's one thing, but her as a performer, I found was just flat. There was just nothing happening with her. For
Flat's a bit
majority
far,
of the
but
movie.
like, well, knowing that this is pretty darn close to Thelma and Louise, and basing it off of that performance, this is definitely lacking.
yes,
True, but I'll just say that when you're the adult, when you're the eldest sibling, it falls to you to be responsible and
You
level-headed.
become boring.
There is a certain amount of what's written into the character that like you can't take big risks. Her character wasn't
Right.
about that.
Yeah.
She was married. She didn't go drinking.
I
She
did
didn't-
like that they just abandoned the family farm for like a year.
yeah.
Who's gonna milk the cows now?
It doesn't matter. They're making $75 a week.
The
or a month.
off-screen mom
month?
voice is gonna have to do it.
I
but yeah.
hear you, Marisa. Like I think that's a fair point, and I do think the dynamic between the sisters was both good, but also a bit weird. Like I already mentioned that final scene, and I was often frustrated with Kit. I think you're supposed to be. It's
Yeah.
that tricky thing where you're supposed to be, but
She's the kid's sister.
it was just so annoying. Like I didn't like at the end when she was all happy and like hugging and like, oh, I miss you now. You're leaving. It's like, well, you finally got what you wanted. I'm glad that you finally beat down your sister so you could feel good. That's weird for you.
Yeah,
Like,
but
Because you're
she's always
supposed
been
to
in her
feel for
shadow.
Gina.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to feel. But
I
Gina's the
know.
protagonist, so Kit has to be the asshole. And Kit's the younger kid that doesn't really know that everything Gina's doing is mostly for her. Takes it for granted until she's leaving, and then the kid's like, "But
And
I
is always
love
living in
you."
her shadow. Is always living in her shadow, and is a little younger, so she's not as mature to professional. So she's being judged against someone who's had a couple more
Yeah.
years to like develop themselves as a player.
But then Gina leaves. Like she does say, "Trade me."
Yep.
Or I'm going home, and then
Yeah.
everything gets flipped. So it's kind of like she ends up playing the responsible, boring, straight adult that, you know what I mean? And even when they don't have when the coach is, 3 sheets to the wind, she has to take that position.
Yeah.
So I feel like
I thought the best parts were when she was using baseball mind, when she had to like step in and coach the team or something. That was
yeah.
I thought that
I
was the
like
best.
the sign
That
off.
scene was great. The
Fight.
sign off between them.
Yeah, that was
I
pretty
agree.
good.
I would argue that it goes on almost a touch too long.
Yes, sure.
I thought it was funny, and then I was like, "Oh, but I've already laughed, and the joke happened." And then
Yeah.
they milk it
I
a
mean,
little bit.
like if Amanda Bynes had been there, it would have probably been perfect. So
Also, want to speaking of the relationship with the sisters, though, my last kind of thought right now is just I also love how much like John Lovitz showed up, and he's like, "Hey." Or like even before that, I don't know if it's him or someone. It's like I noticed you two sisters. Oh, one of you's pretty good, the other one not so much. Have you considered a sibling rivalry? Like he really lays it on heavy. He doesn't say it, but he more or less
Yeah.
says it from the beginning of the movie. He's like, "Yo, what's something? You're not, but you're both coming. We'll see if a movie happens."
It's like, it's like, in case you weren't understanding what this movie's going to be about, here you go, silver platter.
yeah, you go.
There's a competition here. Shall we end to get into some likes and gripes here?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Yep.
So it's a end of round. The official ballots have been cast. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's get
yet.
into our favorite, the fan favorite. I'm gonna say this is the fan favorite
It is.
because it's the shortest part of our podcast, but it comes almost 2 hours in, so that's tricky. Gives and take. But let's do likes and gripes. This is our 2-minute lightning round where we say a like or a gripe, anything we didn't
likes and
say
gripes in it?
in these movies. Yeah, you can just.
I have them, but I also like used a lot of them in the conversation.
That's fine.
This is where you
That's
say
fine.
stuff you haven't said
This is
yet.
lightning round. Just say something or pass.
You can
Okay.
pass.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So we'll start with Sean as per usual, and then we'll go Sean, we'll go Dan, we'll go Jack, and then we'll go Marisa. So you got some time to get into the zone, all right?
Got it.
So we're starting in a 3, 2, 1, go.
Gripes. She's married?
Like an old lady yelling, "I'm coming," as she rounds third base.
Gripe, the blatant travel by Gina Davis's grandson.
Yes,
Basketball. Thank you.
that was my next one.
Like the little details by the set design on the ladies' bus in A League of Their Own.
Oh, yeah. Like, does he have your number? 1-800-BIATCH?
That was a gripe for me.
Gripe, misogyny.
That she sends Channing Tatum like $300 worth of cheese. It's so expensive.
Like what I think is a combination of today and yesterday, and when I can't do this fast, when he goes, all right. That was the Tom Hanks. I think it's also Outcast. That's my like.
Oh, yeah. Gripe. About Viola's OG boyfriend almost headbutting her in the face when they're kissing on the sand.
Nice. Gripe, the fact that Austin Powers stole the piss gag from A League of Their Own.
Gripe, Amanda Bynes and her hairdresser friends improv yelling in the car.
Like the unattractive, in air quotes, Rosie O'Donnell getting 2 twins that are the ones that fall in love with her.
Like John Lovitz.
Gripe, training your kid with chocolate bars.
Gripe, writing a knowing nod from a black person into your movie.
Like the bases beside the names in the credits of A League of Their Own.
Like towel whippings.
Like the phrase, "she gives good nod."
Like Tom Hanks trying not to yell at someone.
Oh, there it is.
That's the timer.
Do you want to do one more because we didn't get to you, Marisa? Do you
Get
want
in
one
there.
Go for
Like that A League of Their Own had almost all female cast and was directed by a woman.
What? Solid like.
Pew, pew, pew.
Woke Men Podcast. Yo.
We should start that The Woke Men podcast and just be the worst liberals ever.
I had a few like feminist things that an info thing I wanted to share. Is that allowed?
Please.
Are we done now? Because we did the fast round.
This is Marisa's feminism corner.
Well, no. But I thought that I wrote it down because I thought it was hilarious when we were talking about the early days broadcasting in the 40s, and they did the NPR woman standing there, and it was just her paragraph was everything for me, and it was something like, higher education is leading to the masculinization of women, and which is enormously dangerous, with enormously dangerous consequences to home, children, and country. When our boys come home from war, what kind of girls will they be coming home to? At the height of this sexual confusion, women's baseball.
Yep.
I was like,
which I just watched.
Points.
I just watched an analysis of a shitty PragerU video earlier that day that was talking about how the world is not geared towards young men anymore. It's all geared towards young women, and we need to restore the world for young men again. So watching that and then hearing that speech, I was like, oh no, we've regressed.
Wait, who is this from?
PragerU. Don't look them up.
PragerU?
It's a fake YouTube university that espouses how great the oil industry and white men are.
Oh, good.
definitely not going to be looking that one up.
Yeah.
There was another one by the guy that with the bespeckled fellow. I know
Ira?
he's like, yeah. What was
like
the actor
Oh, maybe not Ira. Wait.
in A League of Their Own?
The Scout.
No, the one that was making.
Oh,
the
David
league.
Strathern.
Yes.
Also like
he was a
David
huge
Strathairn.
like, and he had a sentence that was like, "Men are back, Rosie. Turn in your rivets."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There were some just really good lines there.
He's
and
great. It's kind of his story in a bit too, where like he starts off being a horrible, just like, your dames are gonna play baseball, you can get off my field, and by the end he's saving the league single-handedly. Yeah.
Yep. One more.
Sorry. Wait, which one is that?
David Strathairn.
Sorry. Is he Harvey or is he Ira?
No,
Ira.
Yeah.
Ira. He's pretty nice to them all the way through, a little
Yeah.
bit, isn't he? He's pretty
At
friendly.
the beginning, he's telling them to, like, if they don't want to wear the dresses, they can get out.
Was that him?
Oh,
Well, yeah, but he's like the
oh.
messenger. And
Oh yeah, and in the way he said it, he was
he
still
does
like,
say
"Look."
that. That's right.
Yeah,
That is him.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. He's
All
a
right.
nice arc.
There was a little bit of Canadiana though. There was actually
Right,
in the
yeah.
original. There was an actual Canadian player from Saskatchewan.
Canadians do things.
Canadians do things, and it was there was like the banter as they were leaving, and it was she goes, "I have to go back to Saskatchewan."
Yeah.
And so, no, I have to spend the next 6 months in Saskatchewan. And the other girl goes, "I hear it's nice." And the girl goes, "Yeah, if you like ice fishing." I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
But this is my last thing. That character.
Jack's Islands are getting heavy.
I know. Ready? Hold on. That character is actually part of a Netflix documentary that's on now.
Ooh.
Oh, cool.
Hot damn.
Called Secret Love. And it's about the fact that woman, that character, which was Terry Donahue, she was actually a lesbian and in love with a dairy farmer called Pat Henschel. And they just came out in their 80s. And there's a Netflix documentary that just came out now about it
Cool.
called Secret Love. So
Look it up.
we can watch that.
I have a note too. In my notes,
Good.
I just have hashtag come on Paul. Can somebody remind me what that means?
No.
I think somebody was cheering it in one of the movies. It's for She's the Man. We just watched it.
Come on, Paul.
I don't know. I'm
Strange
I'm
things
avoiding this
sticking-
one.
Strange things stick in your head.
Wasn't Channing Tatum great?
He was. So let's vote for him.
I also want to say,
God.
probably my favorite line from both these movies was Rosie O'Donnell saying about her her boyfriend, saying, "No, the important thing is he's stupid. He's out of work and he treats me wrong."
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was one of my favorite feminist movements. After
Yeah.
that, when she ripped it
Yeah,
up and said,
that's a
"So
great
long,
movie.
Charlie," and threw it out the window, I was like, "Yes,
Fuck you, Charlie.
fuck you."
Right,
And that
Babble, babble,
concludes
babble.
our 10-minute lightning
Rabble, rabble.
round of likes
Yeah.
and gripes.
It was already done. All right, it was
Yeah.
a bit of free speak. Okay, don't stop.
Also,
stop
here's
getting our free
a
speech.
story note. that I didn't get a chance to include. Does Amanda Bynes? This is a serious thing.
Jesus Christ.
Does she switch schools in the end of the movie because now she's playing on the other team?
Yes.
Let's consult A Winter's Tale and find out.
I love Sean's like he took a breath and just decided to go with the path of least
Yes.
resistance. Yes.
Also, isn't there a
Yes, it
problem
does.
with that game happening at all once they realize that she's not actually a student at that school?
There's nothing in the books that says dogs can't play soccer, okay? Don't read into that. Let's vote.
Look,
It sounds like you're calling
it's
Amanda Bynes a
Shakes-
dog.
Yeah, no, Shakespeare wrote it like that, and you
Yeah.
have to accept it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, let's do some ratings and get out of here. So, because I'm actually curious how this is going to go. Only most some things.
Well, we know how
Okay.
you're rating it. Jack.
I have my ratings are still mixed. Okay, so first category, story good.
Who's going to do it?
A League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own. I vote.
Yeah.
She's the man.
Really?
What the fuck?
Yeah. If
But-
A League of Their Own didn't have the bookends, and if like the book, like I really regretted sitting through the last 10 minutes of that film. I didn't regret any of She's the Man. So she's the man.
This is really changing my view
This
of
is
you.
changing us.
This is dark.
I'm gonna go A League of Their Own. There were one too many plot holes in She's the Man for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And also, that middle part between the bookends is better than any part of.
Sure, but the bookends there.
Oh, okay. But the rest of She's the Man is there. The entire movie is there.
That's just like
It's
your
awful.
opinion, man.
Okay. Well, let's move. The point has been given, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Let's move on to looks good.
Yeah. She's the League of Their Own.
A League of the Man.
Yeah. No, League of Their Own. For me, for sure.
Yeah, someone else go. I don't know.
Oh, I thought that was leading to like your decision.
I was hoping it would. I was hoping if I just
I was,
opened my
I
mouth
was
and
moving
made
you
sound.
closer to the mic.
I know. I was hoping it would come, but I don't know yet.
League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own.
Okay, well then, fuck me. She's
What
the
were you
man.
gonna say though?
Right
Were you gonna say
on.
she's the-
I don't know. You know, okay. Maybe my gut is telling me my gut is telling me She's the Man.
Then go with that.
Yeah,
Go with that. Still
Yeah.
loses the point. But yeah.
It does still lose the point.
Yeah, and now
Okay.
I'm judging you, but
Well, there's
Fair
more
enough.
stuff
But
than I
so-
remember from fucking She's the Man. It's probably because I
Next
just
time-
watched
Just
it.
watched it.
Dan,
Like-
the next time that we're sitting face to face, we are going to have an uncomfortable conversation about this.
Wait, you're gonna have an uncomfortable conversation with Dan. What about with Sean? He's the one you've been fighting with most in this one.
Nah, but Sean's just going to tell me to fuck off. Dan, Dan, I'm going to mess
Dan will
around
take
with
it to
this.
heart and be really upset
Yeah.
about
But
it.
Jack and I will argue for an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll cry about it. It's
Yeah,
pretty good.
it's true. It's true.
Sounds good.
She's the Man.
She's the man. This is my She's
Yeah.
the Man point.
She's the man.
Yeah,
It's
she's
got
the
fun
man.
bops in it, and the music in A League of Their Own bothered me.
Yep. Right.
And that ADR.
Yeah. we are.
And acts good. Sean,
What?
how are you voting for?
Obviously,
acting?
League of Their Own. Like, I'm not going to compare the Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is in a league of his own, and you know.
Dad joke.
You just like took that away and gave it to the male actor.
No, I'm not. No. Hey, there's a reason that the memorable line is "There's no crying in baseball." No, it's everyone. It's an ensemble cast, but like,
Rosie O'Donnell, Madonna are awesome.
yeah.
Like there's so many great people.
But
in
Rosie
this.
O'Donnell is playing a role that largely Rosie O'Donnell plays a lot.
Sure.
And I've never seen Tom Hanks just be a steaming bag of shit.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. He is usually likable.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, but
But for all
Channing
the
Tatum was vulnerable, guys, and so nice.
She's the man. And Marisa?
No, I'm going A League of Their Own, you bitch.
Okay.
I'm going A League of Their Own for one of the first, I think, female heavy ensemble casts of that era at
I'm
least.
sure
Yeah.
there's been more than that. No.
Yeah.
Not that
We'll have
many
to, we'll have,
female, I don't
we'll have to
Name
look
one.
into our history books, but next.
And then our bonus category of rewatchability. Which one?
Oh,
do you want again?
easily She's the Man.
Yeah, easily she's the man.
Hands down, no question. She's the Man.
Yep.
Yeah, way more fun.
I feel like I would watch A League of Their Own again just to enjoy all the little nuggets of like the quotes and sentences and little acting moments in it. So I would say A League of Their Own because it doesn't count if you have She's the Man running in the background and you're not actually watching it.
Well, that's what we say to Daniel every time, but
I watch
This
these fucking
guy.
movies. You guys can suck it.
He also has movies running behind the scenes in everything he does, so that doesn't count, you know.
Was I doing that with these films?
No.
Do you have movies running in the background as you watch these movies? It's like Gods of Egypt in the background as you're watching A League of Their Own.
I had the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League playing on my AirPods while She's the Man was on.
while watching Ben-Hur.
yeah, Jack, it's down to you, I think.
Because you're voting. Which one are you voting for?
We have
Sean?
2 She's the Man and 1 League of Their Own.
I'm A League of Their Own. I'm
All
never
right.
watching She's the Man ever again.
It's a tied rewatch.
So that's
Thank
3 to
goodness.
1.
3 to 1 with a tie on rewatchability.
Which means that the Citizen Kane of the week, thank God, is
There's no crying in baseball!
A League of Their Own.
Yay.
I do appreciate that She's the Man had claps for the main character, though. That's always good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you. What were you going to say?
No, I wanted us all to yell A League of Their Own at the same time.
Oh,
And I
that's
gotta-
not how we do things here.
Okay.
Yeah, could you get with the fucking format here?
Sorry.
So I got a video from our guest for next week.
Oh, right.
Our second recurring guest or second recurring guest?
Second
after
recurring
Miranda?
guest.
Hey there, I'm Rob Feedham of the RIP podcast, and I'm going to be talking about the 1954 classic Godzilla, or aka Gojira, and also the Roger Corman classic from 1957, Attack of the Crab Monsters. Enjoy.
Fantastic.
Wait, I'm confused. Are those not both classic movies?
No, I think Attack of the Crab Monsters is utter schlock.
Great.
Yeah, they're both classics in that they're both old, but one is a classic and one is Attack of the Crab Monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the which year did he say? Which Godzilla did he say? Because there's so many Godzillas.
Oh, I think he said
1954 or something.
1954 or 54, I think. 57.
54. Yeah. All right.
So yeah, Attack of the Crab Monsters is kind of classic schlock, let's say. It's kind of a battle of both classic schlock in a way, but one's definitely more of a classic and one's definitely more schlock.
I've been hoping we would do some older schlock to get that going. So fantastic. Way to go,
I
Rob.
was gonna choose Attack of the 50-Foot Woman actually, but
Yeah.
I felt that it was
Oh.
too like old. I got confused too about the whole. I was like,
No.
find something
Next time.
next time.
Next time when we have Marisa's Feminism Corner.
You're gonna have to send me some notes on whatever it was you mentioned earlier that I didn't
Well, it's
know.
all on the internet.
Maybe still send me some notes.
Okay.
Internet's a big place, Sean. A big place.
Sean's like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Teach me about feminism.
Yeah, Sean, teach us all. Okay, well, that's it. We already did a call to action, so let's not do that. Shall we leave?
Bye. And
And
Citizen Kane versus